welcome to CasaLoud Chats, a podcast dedicated to Nickelodeon's The Casagrandes and the Loud House universe. And I'm your host, Sunny. And welcome to episode 47 of CasaLoud Chats. And today we have a very exciting episode for you guys because today we're going to be talking about most importantly, the big episode that came out this week that we all are going to be talking about. You know, the one with a certain OT3 that all of us are excited about. But of course, we have to talk about 8 episodes of the Casagrandes this week because they had a lot of episodes to discuss. Like the ones that came out before came out this week, and all brand new episodes of the Casagrandes. So it's a very, very exciting episode today. But today I'm actually not alone in talking about all these 8 episodes of the Casagrandes. I have a very special returning guest on my show. You know them from the LoudCasa Talks podcast. It's Nate and Omid of the LoudCasa Talks podcast. Welcome back to my podcast, guys.
Yeah, well, thank you for having us back here, Sunny.
Yeah, it's such an honor, such a pleasure to be here with you again, just like February 2020. And I just want to say to all you guys listen, what's up, Loud Crowd of Casa Crew? How y'all doing? It's so good to have you guys listening, have you guys supporting us. You know, only this time it's on a different platforms. Just glad we can all get together and discuss this really big OT3 Sidonican episode. And plus much more.
And this huge bomb of Casagrandes episodes. I mean, we got to be here for a while because we're talking about 8 episodes.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. So again, thank you guys so much for coming back because, you know, when I found out that An Udder Mess was going to be the return of Lincoln in the show, and I remembered I didn't have you guys on my podcast. It's again February of 2020, which now is February of 2021. I was like, well, I need to bring back Nate and Omid on my show because I've been on their show recently, and of course Nate and I are part of the Casa Live sessions recently, so why not bring them back on to discuss a crossover episode because it's like a crossover podcast of LoudCasa and CasaLoud, so it's perfect. So thank you guys for coming back on again.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, so we have a lot to discuss, of course, so let's get to that. But before that, we have some news to discuss for the Loud House of the Casagrandes. So let's get into some Casa news! Alright, so for this week, of course, since we are on hiatus for both shows of right now, because we had 8 episodes of the Casagrandes, there's not a lot of news to discuss from both shows, but the first piece of news is very exciting as the Ronnie Anne vlogs are back once again! We have the return of the vlogs! And this week we had vlog 16 come out, which was like a food testing episode, or vlog they were doing when they were testing out food. But what's special about this episode, this vlog, was that we didn't have just Lincoln and Ronnie Anne, but Clyde became part of the vlogs. So, what do you guys think of Clyde coming into the vlogs for this episode?
I gotta say that there's a lot of exciting things about this. Just knowing that it's mostly just Ronnie and Lincoln doing stuff on their vlogs. Now they're bringing in special guests like Clyde McBride in this one. It kind of makes me wonder if there's gonna be more special guests coming in. I would not be surprised if Sid makes an appearance in the vlog one time.
Yeah, you can pretty much. I pretty much think that since Clyde was the first one to be it as a guest in the vlog, the first guest in the vlog, it makes me think. Okay, the second guest in the vlog, I'm betting all my savings, I'm betting all my money, it will be Sid because you got to go with the best friends first before you move on to, the lesser known friends like Rusty and Zach, or like Nikki and Casey, and then the next level you got like Stella. The next guess you got Laird, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, it was really cool that Clyde finally got to be a part of it because in one of the vlogs, they had that whole vlog where the sisters called in and Sid called in for a little bit, but she mostly called in. But it's really awesome that, because again, this week we got Lincoln and Sid hanging out and interacting, and now we have Clyde and Ronnie Anne interacting, which is really awesome. I love that, they are, get like having all of them become friends in this way. But yes, the next one should be Sid for sure.
I swear, it's cool that to see, Lincoln's best friend meet up with Ronnie Anne, and they having their interactions too. It just makes me feel like they're really having this best friend, like, how do you explain this best friend relationship, like clinging together. And I just love the chemistry that's going on right now. I mean, having Clyde and Ronnie Anne interact, it's something cool to, see, because you don't see Clyde and Ronnie Anne interact in the show at all. So having them interact in a vlog like this, it's showing some significance.
I mean, okay. One thing I must say though is that they only interacted briefly in Back Out There, but it was only through a phone call for 15 seconds. That was pretty much it. They didn't interact at all. And the thing is, they've been going to like the same school for the longest time, like specifically in Loud House season 1. So it kind of makes you wonder if they ever interacted during the time or not, or outside of the episodes, of course.
Well, it's like more personal interactions instead of just like 5 or 10 second talks or something.
Yeah, because like because Clyde obviously knew who Ronnie Anne was at that point, because like obviously Lincoln and Ronnie Anne had been were hanging out at the time. Like at Dance Dance Resolution, Clyde helped Lincoln try to avoid Ronnie Anne with the whole mix up with all the dates he had, and of course Back Out There with Clyde being worried that Lincoln was upset about Ronnie Anne moving. So it's like Clyde knew who she was, but we never got to see like Clyde and Ronnie Anne like interact or just like see each other on screen. So like with Udder Mess, like we talk about, seeing Sid and Lincoln hanging out for a bit is super cool, because like they're both the best friends of Ronnie Anne, they know each other through that. So like, or like in Horoscope, when Sid knew who Lincoln was to Ronnie Anne, talking about him. So it's nice to see that like Clyde was like, oh, I'm a huge fan of the vlogs, I'm excited to be on, and like talking to Ronnie Anne and her interacting with him. It's just so cool. It's so cool seeing them like actually talk to each other and know each other. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, most definitely.
I agree. Yeah, honestly, since in Udder Mess we've seen Ronnie Anne's best friends interact and get along with each other, why not just have Lincoln's own 2 best friends get along and interact with each other in the vlog itself too, right? I mean,
it's going to be interesting though, because the comics also do appear that they're going to have like a Clyde, Sid, Ronnie Anne, Lincoln moment. That's coming up later on, and I don't know what, but it seems like they're just exciting us for that comic.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
I am going to mention that.
Cover,
yes,
the front cover.
Oh yeah,
cover, baby. Slide.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the OT4 cover with Roddy Kid and Slide. Like, oh my god. Like, please, there better be a Slide comic. I swear, I want Sid and Clyde to interact so much. Oh my god.
Like honestly, forget Chloe. I'm pulling for Slide.
Whoa.
Oh wow. Okay. Whoa. All right.
Wait. Oh man, we're doing Chip Warster now.
Chloe. Wow.
No, Chloe had some potential. I loved Brave the Last Dance. Oh my god.
I want Chloe to come back. I want her to come back so badly. If Darcy can come back, Chloe can come back. Okay.
There's a lot of potential. I feel like Clyde can can hit it off with Chloe. I just hope that the writers know about Chloe more.
Yeah,
Put some more character emphasis on her and Clyde, and have them have a relationship or something.
Yeah, but I do want Sid and Clyde to eventually meet, because I want the best friends of the best friends to be best friends. That way, they're all best friends. It works perfectly like that. Like, I hope in the vlog maybe they can finally have Sid come on, and it'll be Lincoln, Ronnie, and Sid and Clyde in the vlog.
Yes.
Or something.
Yes.
OT4.
Oh my god.
OT4.
Oh my
yes.
god.
We never know. It could happen. Like, because the fact that Clyde appeared in the vlog is really cool, because like they're changing the format up, which is really neat, because like they're finally bringing them back, and it's like, we're not gonna do the same thing over and over. I mean, as much as we like Lincoln and Ronnie and talking to each other, because hey, I mean, having Clyde appear is awesome. So it's like, if they're gonna do different things, I'm excited for what else they could do with the vlog. So it was just really cool to see Clyde have a moment with, like, have his moment of talking to Lincoln and Ronnie, and maybe he might come back in another one, or vice versa. We never know. It's just cool that the vlog's back.
Yes, and the other thing too about the whole hiatus, knowing that we don't have any new episodes coming out, if we could get like more vlogs like this, then I'll be happy to to watch in and all while we wait for new episodes to come out.
Yeah, I'm honestly like this vlog, this special guest appearance definitely opens up many doors in terms of having friends as guests for these Lincoln and Ronnie Anne vlogs. Like I said, have Sid go next, and then sort of like alternate, like sort of like rotate, like have Lincoln's friend, then Ronnie Anne's friend, then Lincoln's other friend, then Ronnie Anne's other friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just a lot of potential of what the vlogs will unfold, knowing that there's gonna be more coming out.
Yep, there's a lot of potential. So I'm always excited when the vlogs come out because, like, yay, I love the Ronnie Anne vlogs. But it was so cool to see Clyde in it too to change it up. So yeah, thank you, Nick, for bringing back the vlogs, and hopefully there's some more in the future as we go through this little hiatus for a bit. All right, so the next piece of news, as Nate had mentioned, there is a new comic coming out next month in March, which is The Case of the Stolen Drawers. Now, actually what happened was somebody, I think their username is Comic Uno, they review a bunch of comics. They got an advanced copy of this comic, and I saw it first on YouTube, and the thumbnail was Ronnie Anne, Lincoln, and Clyde, and I was like, oh my god, what? What is gonna be in this comic? Ronnie Anne being in Royal Woods with Clyde and Lincoln? What? Like, is that actually happening? It is. Like, oh my god. And like,
they're hyping up for us. I knew it.
Yeah, like, oh my god.
They're hyping it up for us. Oh my god.
And like, one other thing too is that apparently in one of the comics, Lincoln is going to be learning skateboarding to show off some cool moves to Ronnie Anne, i.e. impress her with some skateboarding skills. I'm like, oh my god, he's skateboarding for Ronnie Anne, which is amazing.
If you thought the chewing gum wasn't enough, there's the skateboarding now. So it just tells me that Lincoln just wants to be like Ronnie Anne, and Ronnie Anne it's just to impress Ronnie Anne. It's Ronnie Anne moments, guys. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and like
we see Lincoln's continuing to simp for Ronnie Anne, and it's so enjoyable to watch.
Oh my god. Why'd you have to say it the way you said it?
Well, think about it. Like, in Horoscope, Lincoln's trying to impress Ronnie Anne with his magic tricks, and in Curse, Lincoln's trying to impress Ronnie Anne with creating the shape of chewed gum, like one of a Statue of Liberty. And here, we see Lincoln trying to impress Ronnie Anne by learning skateboarding. So it really does go to show how Lincoln is trying to pretty much do all these skills in order to, impress Ronnie Anne, like see her, to have Ronnie Anne see Lincoln as maybe more than just friends, if you know what I mean.
Just a good pal. A good pal totally wants to show off magic tricks, chew bubblegum, and put in the shape of a Statue of Liberty from her, and learn her favorite sport. Just a good pal, am I right? Friends do that all the time.
Not really convincing enough, huh? Really?
Yeah. Best friends, huh, Lincoln?
Lincoln, it took you 5 seasons to know skateboarding?
Suspicious here.
Sus. I believe the word you're looking for is sus.
Very sus.
Sus.
I mean, we saw Lincoln skateboarding in Deal Me Out with Clyde. But, like, the fact that he's like, I wanted to skateboard so I could show off some cool moves to Ronnie Anne. Like, it's okay, Lincoln. You can say you're trying to impress her. We all know the truth, buddy. What's also cool about that one is, from what I heard about it, Lincoln's actually going to go get advice from Ronnie Anne's skateboarding friends about skateboarding to impress Ronnie Anne, which is also neat. So, after hearing all of that, I'm very excited for this comic now. I'm very, very excited. I can't wait for it.
Same here.
Oh, nice to see that. Nice to see that Lincoln's going to interact with Ronnie Anne's skateboarding friends. The last time we saw it was back in City Slickers, way before Casagrandes even became its own legitimate spin-off show.
Yeah, I mean, once Nikki finds out that Lincoln's doing it to Ronnie Anne. Once she finds out, though, we all know from the one episode.
I didn't expect Nikki to be such a huge shipper, but oh my god, I didn't see the romantic side of Nikki. Now, if she sees Ronnie Anne and Lincoln just like this, just watch her eyes go like fluttered after.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God, you're trying to impress
She's
her.
gonna
No,
go
no, I'm
floating
not.
again.
I'm not trying to impress her,
Oh my God,
Nikki.
if that's gonna be in the comic, I'm gonna be so
Oh
happy.
my God, please. Don't get my hopes up, but I swear if that's in it where she's like, you're trying to impress her, aren't you, Lincoln? No, I swear I'm not. Oh my God.
And then they'll be like, ooh.
And then they're all gonna be ooh, just like just like Ronnie Anne's skate friends. It's like ooh.
Oh my God. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I can't wait for that comic. I already pre-ordered it, so maybe I'll get it before it comes out, but minute I heard about that, like, well, pre-order, there you go. I'm done. Oh my God.
I did too. Like, I usually pre-order comics like way ahead of time too, so.
Okay, alright, so that's exciting. And then the last piece of news we'll breeze through is that Nate Nomin mentioned this to me, and I totally forgot about it, is that the Loud House is going to be coming to Paramount Plus. Now, I know the Loud House is on CBS Access right now. All Access, is that what it is? CBS All Access? I think season 1 through 3.
Yeah.
So, it's cool that the Loud House is going to be on Paramount Plus. Is it going to be all, like, 4 or 5 seasons, or is it just going to be season 1 through 3? Do we know that yet or no?
We have no information on that. All that I know is that there was just an advertisement that shows that Paramount Plus is showing the Loud House. We don't know what specific episodes are going to be on there, but you could go ahead and take out your CBS All Access, or if you do have CBS All Access, you can keep that, and that will be your subscription to Paramount Plus. But I haven't had CBS All Access yet, so it's probably time for me to actually get Paramount Plus, because there's a lot of things that Paramount Plus has, considering CBS, Paramount Pictures, Nickelodeon, and a lot of properties that Viacom CBS owns, and they're all going to be there on Paramount Plus. So I would say it's a big investment, especially if you're a huge Loud House Casagrandes fan. So huge recommendation: go ahead and get Paramount Plus for those out there.
Yeah, and not only that, but just recently, because of Paramount Plus, I myself recently actually subscribed to CBS All Access just so that I can get the 50% off deal. Because if you subscribe to CBS All Access, if you sign up for CBS All Access before Paramount Plus even releases, then you get some sort of 50% off deal. And because of the deal, I just had to get it. This was the perfect time.
Oh,
okay, I didn't know about that. So
cool.
now it makes me want to get it now.
I didn't know that, because I got CBS All Access because of my my TV provider was like we're paying through it to TV provider, but we get it for free. So that's cool that, like, if you already have it, you could get, like, 50% off Paramount Plus before it comes out. I thought CBS All Access was becoming Paramount Plus. I didn't know it was still going to be around.
I think it is. I think that's how it is. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but yeah, that's cool. The Loud House is going to be on Paramount Plus. I mean, I was hoping the Loud House would be on Netflix since the movie's on Netflix. I don't know why they wouldn't do that instead. But there's some weird things about it. It just feels like Nickelodeon and Paramount Plus are kind of partnering, because all I know is that Nickelodeon has been putting up like some of the teen Nick shows, like Victoria, Sam and Cat, and then just recently iCarly is now on Netflix. So I don't know if they still have a partnership with Netflix, but you can totally still see the films from Nickelodeon. They're still there on Netflix right now. Okay, yeah. I still think it'll be on Paramount Plus, but once the movie comes out, I think they might just put the Loud House on Netflix, like, as a promotion. That's what I'm thinking. To promote the movie.
Yeah. That sounds reasonable there, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The thing with the 50% off plan is that it's actually an annual plan. So it only applies to, like, the first year that you get Paramount Plus.
I can see that, yeah.
Gotcha.
Actually, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So yes, that is all the recent news of this week, because again, we're on hiatus for both shows. We do have episodes that were announced for the Loud House, but we don't know when those are coming out. So I talked about them last time, but we don't know when those episodes are coming out. Probably March, but I think for the time being, after 8 episodes of the Casagrandes, we all need a little break. But yes, we're going to jump right into talking about all 8 of these episodes, of course. So I'm leaving the big episode for the end because, that is the big episode. We got to leave that for the end. So let's talk about the first set of episodes, which are No Egrets and Meal Ticket, which both got leaked on Amazon. So majority of us already saw them, but I didn't want to talk about them until the official release on Monday with the Mega Musical Countdown, which we can talk about real quick. What do you guys think of the Mega Musical Countdown hosted by Carlos Penvega, the voice of Bobby?
So one thing is that one of my favorite songs is not even on the list. What Have I Done? I don't know what happened to that song, but that wasn't in the top 12, and I don't know who didn't vote for that. But
I was surprised.
Yeah, but either way, the list wasn't bad. I mean, I kind of predicted that Play It Loud was going to be number 1 because everybody loved that song. But not some hitters were there. I mean, what was it? Best Thing Ever was an absolute hit. I'm glad that was on the list. Best Buds was a song that I thought shouldn't have been on the list, but it was on there. And also for the host Carlos Peña Vega, he really rocked it. He was actually pretty funny, and all the shirts that he's wearing, I really wish I had one of those, especially the Lynn shirt or the Mega Music Countdown shirt. So if you're listening, Carlos Peña Vega, can I have it? Or can you tell me where I can actually grab one of those shirts?
He was rocking that pizza suit. He was rocking the pizza suit too. It was amazing.
Yeah, I saw the pizza suit. Yeah, definitely. It definitely suited him. I agree. It did.
Suited.
Anyway,
get it because it's suits? Suited.
Nice. So, give my 2 cents on Mega Music Countdown, Nate, or are you done? Or
am I done? Yeah, go ahead, Omid.
All right. First off, Carlos, Luna shirt right now. I need that Luna shirt in my life, man. Tell me what you want. I will give you all my money, all my savings. I'll give you my life.
What? Whoa. For a Luna shirt.
Yes. I will fight you to the death over that shirt. It's just, I need it in my possession.
Oh my God.
Now. Okay. Now, that's number 1. Number 2, I felt that the list had some sort of Watch Mojo vibes, if you know what I mean. Like, the list is sort of, how do I put it, disagreeable. First off, you don't have What Have I Done? You have Best Buds instead. And Best Buds ranks over the likes of Road Trippin' Blues and We Got This, and even You Got Tricked. That is unacceptable. And also number 3, Play It Loud is number 1. Let's go. Play it loud, play it loud. No time for turning it down. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, no, like the list was very predictable. Like we knew Play It Loud would be number 1, obviously. Like I don't know who decided. Like obviously us fans, we didn't get the vote on these. Like they didn't tell us we were supposed to vote on these. I guess they just gave it to like people who've seen the show and are like, oh, we'll Play It Loud because a Luna song would be number 1. Like I kind of felt. What was that?
I kind of felt like sorry to interrupt, but I kind of felt like we just missed something. I think they put it up on like Nick Play or that app that you use to interact with when you want to take. It's that one thing where you get like stickers or something. You remember when your episodes came out for the Loud House before?
Yeah.
And you had to answer questions and things like that. I think it was on that website where you have to vote for like the Mega Loud Music Countdown or something. Maybe we missed it or something. I believe it was on that website that said you can also vote for your favorite songs, and we'll go ahead and make a music countdown for that. That might be where people got their votes from.
Yeah. It's just like, yeah, you're right, because like the list was so random. Like Best Buds is on there, and some like the glam song from Lola. Like some of them are just like really random because like I don't think most of them really deserve to be on the list, except like the ones we like the Christmas song, obviously. Where's Grateful for It All? Come on, that's my favorite song for the Loud House. That's my favorite song.
I like that too. It's honestly the best part of the Thanksgiving episode, despite the Thanksgiving episode, not being a top tier episode, but still a good episode in and of itself. Grateful for It All was the highlight.
Yeah, you would think with Carlos Vega, the voice of Bobby, hosting a Loud House countdown, they would put that for Casagrande representation, but they didn't. It was all just Loud House. Like, you should have put that in for, like, because Bobby in the Casagrandes and Loud House. It would have made sense, but, like, no. But you're right. What Have I Done was on there. Was, like, one of the best songs of really loud music. It was such a random list, but it was kind of a predictable list. Like, we all know Play Loud would be number one, because it's kind of easy to know that. And even Best Song Ever, it was on there too. Or was it Best Song Ever? Yeah, I think so.
Best thing ever.
Best thing ever.
Yeah.
Best thing ever. Yeah. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed Carlos hosting. He was really funny. Again, his t-shirts, they need to actually make those. Like, please, us fans would want them so badly. I would pay all my money for that. Like, I'm waiting for Nick to give me the Lincoln Ronnie Anne standees for the football game still. But
I still want those too. Oh my god.
I wait with my money, Nickelodeon. Just mail them right here.
Listen. I want a life-size, cutout of Ronnie Anne or Lincoln right here, and then it can just be on my background while we're doing our LoudCasa talks.
I will pay good money for both of them, please, Nickelodeon.
Kind of like how I want the Luna Loud t-shirt that Carlos was wearing. It's like, gotta have it.
Yeah, it's like, Nick, you can make good money.
You can make so much money with all the merchandising stuff. Come on, Nickelodeon.
Exactly.
This is a smart move.
We will buy it. Just make it. We'll buy it from you, please. But like, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Another thing too is that Lisa Loud. You think Lincoln is the most predictable thing you've seen in the Loud House? Try watching Make a Music Countdown and try paying attention to the list.
I think Lisa could predict the entire list too. Like, if she was on it, she would know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
But it was really fun. It was really cool. It was a really cool thing though to get like this, because they've done these countdowns with SpongeBob, so it's really nice that the Loud House finally got a countdown. Even was like, again, like a predictable list, but they also made a playlist which some of the songs that weren't released from Really Loud Music are now officially released on Spotify, Apple streaming, and some other places. So that's really cool. So now I can listen to We Got This like a million times on my phone. That's great. I love that.
Yeah.
Same here. I'm glad that they released the Make a Music Countdown songs on iTunes, Spotify, and all this stuff. One gripe I really had with it, though, is that they still added the SFX effects. You know what I mean? They still added the sound effects.
Yeah.
To the songs.
Audio, too. So when I'm listening to Lincoln Loud, the Best Dang Brother, you can still hear Lincoln and you can still hear Luna say, like, hey, bro, 1, 2, 3, 4, that kind of stuff. So if they ever, like, have a real track, just the real track of just the song, that would be really cool. But, this is the next best thing. I'd still take it.
Yeah, I'd still take it. I mean, I guess they just don't have a version without the audio, like all the sound effects. I don't think they have a version without them. But at least it's officially released. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's jump over to the episode then. So that Make a Music Countdown was tied into No Egrets and Meal Ticket. So let's start with No Egrets. Sergio was in for a treat when a group of baby birds think he's their mama. So guys, Sergio episode. Yes. Yes. Anyone want to go first?
What to say, honestly.
So go ahead, Omid. You can go first about this.
Honestly, when I heard about this, I was thinking, okay, a Sergio episode in which, he actually shows his nurturing side. Okay, I'm interested to see what happens. Excuse me. And as I've seen this episode, like, as I was watching this episode, I was thinking to myself, it doesn't take away any of the bad stuff that Sergio did. It doesn't take away the fact that Sergio is nothing more than an obstacle that only serves a purpose to stand in the way between his family's and his family's goals. It doesn't change the fact that he killed a chicken in no bad cluck. I mean, right? I mean, let's not forget he killed a chicken in bad cluck. Overall, I'd say fine. It just to see his more nurturing side, but I still think that Sergio is one annoying bird.
Okay, so let me go ahead and put my 2 cents on this episode. This episode, I understand from the past that Sergio's still a jerk, and that he's still, angry. Or not angry, more like a person that killed a chicken and all that kind of stuff. That's, I think, the reputation for Sergio now. But This is a light-sided episode for Sergio where he continues to take care of birds. And in this episode, you get to see how birds are. Apparently, they're really party birds. Actually, all the birds are party birds, especially the pigeons and Sergio. But when he has to take care of baby egrets, he turned out to be a pretty kind of dad. Like, first thing he had to teach them was fly, and then they flew into porcupine. They almost thought they flew into porcupines. Then he had to teach them how to bathe and teach them how to get food. So those were kind of cool that he was trying to be a fatherly figure, but not in a kind of convincing way. But the thing that got me at the end was that Sergio, stood up to those cats and tried to save those egrets and tried to be a fatherly figure. And the fact that at the end that he, how do you say this? That he was taking care of those baby birds, but it was Ronnie Anne and Ronnie Anne and Sid's baby birds actually. So they did. So it was kind of cool that Sergio was like, "Oh, I have a huge bond with these birds now. I'm sorry I had to let them go." So you totally get to see a fatherly side of Sergio, but then after that you get to see the party side again. So this episode was kind of like, "Oh, okay, so you're back to your party side," even though we saw a little convincing, little heartwarming side for you, Sergio, that you're being a fatherly figure to baby birds. But I gotta say, like, it was not bad. I thought it was pretty good of an episode. I have to say, it did give me a little bit lighthearted for Sergio a bit there, but you gotta still remember the past, that he still killed a chicken. He's still a jerk. He's still kind of like a bird that would always be not fun to play with, to say. But at least we get to see an episode where we get to see Sergio kind of be a nice person in a way.
Yeah, like my theory still stands. I think they realized after they wrote the monstrosity that is Bad Cluck, where they portrayed Sergio in like the worst light ever, they're like, "Oh, wait, we just wrote a bad Sergio episode. Let's write a redemption episode." Because like this is definitely like their way of like trying to redeem Sergio after, again, a lot of us still remember, like Casagrandes, we still remember Sergio in canon murdered a chicken, and it's like hard to forget that because it was literally this season. And then so you try to do a redemption episode by having Sergio take care of baby birds. And while this episode had good intentions of putting Sergio in a good light, because I applaud them for doing that, Sergio's just gonna go back to the way he is. Like, he has one good episode, fine, but he's just gonna go back to the way he is. But, it's nice that they actually tried to do something good with Sergio, have this bond with the baby birds. But I don't remember most of this episode. Like, the only thing I remember is the ending with Sid and Ronnie Anne being gay moms to the birds. That's literally the only memorable part, is Ronnie Anne and Sid taking care of these birds and naming them Yoon and Kwon, which, again, I don't know why Unit Quan, like, why, and like them just being gay moms. That's all I really remember about the episode was that. I wish we could have gotten that episode. The Ronnie and Sid babysit the birds, and then they find out that Sergio had them the whole time. Like, I would have seen that. I would have loved that episode versus watching Sergio take care of the baby birds. But I give them an A for effort for trying to do a good redemption Sergio episode, but after Bad Cluck, I was like, are we really going to have an episode where Sergio takes care of baby birds? No! I don't want him near birds! He murdered a chicken! Don't forget that!
Yeah, like, for all we know, they could be next. Like, they could be next.
Exactly!
So.
That's what I was worried about. No, they're next, Sergio! No! Don't do it! But, I... No, go ahead, sorry.
You still have the floor.
What was that?
You still have the floor. Go ahead.
Oh, no, actually, I was gonna let you go. Sorry.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was actually just thinking about that too. The fact that there was a missed opportunity for Ronnie Anne and Sid to have a full episode in which they themselves take care of these birds. Because let me tell you, they would do a hell lot of a better job than Sergio would have, in my opinion. Because here's the thing, Ronnie Anne and Sid would have actually cared for those birds from the start.
It would have been a really great Tsunade episode. I bet the Tsunade fans would have loved that, like them being cute little moms and the birds taking care of them. I would have loved to see that episode. Then just,
Actually,
no, go
yeah,
ahead,
I had to say, like, there was some Tsunade moments that were happening there. Just the fact that they were taking care of birds. So for those who are into like Tsunade, there's your little moment there that they were taking care of birds.
There was a lot of Tsunade this week, not gonna lie. A lot of Tsunade this week.
Yeah.
But anything else you guys want to say about this episode before we move on?
Nothing much to say for me.
Nothing much to say for me either. Honestly, I just give it like I say 3 eggs out of 5.
Ooh, that's an interesting rating. Are you gonna give when we get to An Udder Mess, are you gonna try to rate it through like milk cartons or cows?
Yes, I am. Like, chocolate milk cartons, baby. Chocolate milk cartons.
5 chocolate milk cartons out of 5. You should just keep that for every rating. Like, next we have, like, meal ticket, you can, like, rate it, like, I don't know, like, 5 sandwiches out of 5 or something. Keep that rating. Keep the theme going.
You'll see what I'm about to use.
Okay, alright. So we're gonna move on to meal ticket, which again, more Tsunade's, so that's great. Alright, so meal ticket. Ronnie Anne and Sid help Casey run his family food truck at a Yuquan concert. So what do you guys think of meal tickets?
So I can go first on this one. I thought this was a huge moment for Sedanikin. It's not Sedanikin, sorry, Sedani. Not there yet. Not there yet.
Not there yet. One day, I love that episode. Lincoln comes to a Yuquan concert with them. Yes, let's make that happen. Okay, sorry.
that could be interesting. Yeah, I actually like to see Lincoln experience Yuquan experience K-pop culture. That'd be interesting for Lincoln to get into.
I can't wait to see he actually gets into K-pop. Yeah, but no doubt about it. I have to say, like, this was a huge Tsunade moment that I've been seeing here. They wanted to go to a Yuquan concert. They both love K-pop, so they try their best to get them in there. Poor Sergio again being the jerk of it all because he cut down the internet and also cut up kind of distracted breakfast spot because he was just there just to do his job, and that bird had to ruin the fun and had to ruin the whole food truck experience. They could have Sid and Ronnie Anne could have went to the same stage with 12 is Midnight, but that food truck was the priority, so they had to rescue it instead. I have to say that it was just really cute moments with Sid and Ronnie Anne. And just more emphasis on Casey because it kind of tells you how Casey's dad is. He's a person who's into the food truck business, and how Casey is. He's just a pretty cool guy and stuff like that. Still helping out with his dad's food truck and all. And yeah, I can't really say much about it. It's just a lot of Tsunade moments that I think were just really cute. I just hope that we get more 12 is Midnight episodes just like this. And I hope it'd be as cute just like this episode where we get to see a lot of these Tsunade moments. All right, Omid, you can go up.
All right. Now, here's the thing. This episode would have been perfect. Honestly, seeing Ronnie Anne and Sid like in a Yuquan concert, a big Yuquan concert, that would have had potential to be like, an amazing episode in and of itself. Like, 5 sandwiches out of 5 sandwiches, like Sonny just said. However, there is one aspect that keeps it from being perfect. You know what I'm talking about. And his name is, it starts with an S, Sergio. Sergio really did it again. Right after you had a decent episode, right after you had a redemption episode, this to them? Why? What's the point? Like, why are you here? We don't need you. You don't need to be a plot device to get in the way of Ronnie Anne and Sid at the concert. Why? It boggles the mind. And not to mention, the reason why Sergio and his girlfriend got VIP tickets is way too contrived. Like, it's just way too out there. It makes no sense at all. Just everything with Sergio in this episode, like, when you consider it, and especially after no Egrets, everything with Sergio is just horrible. And it actually kind of bogs down the episode just a tiny bit for me. However, outside of the stuff with Sergio, I'd say this was really great. It's actually really nice to see, like I said, Ronnie Anne and Sid get the ultimate K-pop experience of their lives, from the big crowds to the big stage to all the food trucks to, well, the K-pop stars themselves, Yoon Kwon and 12 is Midnight, of course. So, if not for Sergio, this episode would have been much better. But as it is right now, the episode to me is still a great watch for me.
Yeah, wow. I did not expect you to complain about Sergio in this episode, but the thing is, I totally forgot about Sergio sabotaging like the beginning of the episode. Because yeah, you're right. We just had an episode where they like I said, they portrayed Sergio in a good light, and then I said, well, he's just gonna go back to the way he was, and that's exactly what happened in Meal Ticket. So you're right about that. But yeah, no, this episode, like, I don't have a lot to say on it. Like I said on Casa Live, it's just another cute Sidani episode for the Sidani fans. They were adorable, hugging and be excited about seeing 12 is Midnight and Yu Kwan and stuff. Like, it's just really cute seeing them together again, because the last Sidani episode we had that wasn't with the whole group was Fast Feud in season 1, and I'm like, that's how you end the Sidani trilogy, like the whole Sidani episode in season 1 is Fast Feud, that forgettable episode. So it was nice to see they finally returned with an episode where I feel like it's kind of like a sequel to Two of Clubs, where it's just a cute episode with Sid and Ronnie being adorable, because they're always adorable together, and just being big fans of 12 is Midnight, and having Yu Kwan perform there with a concert, and them getting to see him. Like, I don't know what else to say. It's just a really cute episode. It's just fun, cute Sidani episode. I don't know what else do you expect from the episode. It's just that's just what it is. Cute, fun Sidani. That's all I'll say. It was a really fun episode.
My God, that 12 is Midnight hug, as they were chanting, 12 is midnight, 12 is midnight. Like,
yes.
Like right
so
before,
precious.
Sidonican hug in An Udder Mess. This was the best Sidani hug ever. However, it has been dethroned by a OT3 hug in an upcoming episode we're going to talk about like later on in a later episode.
Oh yeah, yeah.
However, and also with regards to Fast Feud, like, I'll give small credit to Fast Feud that the most memorable thing about Fast Feud is Cranky Sid.
Oh, that's true.
Like,
yeah.
Cranky Sid was gold. It was gold.
Uh-huh.
You see, I am upset. Yeah, I'd love to see more Cranky Sid, not gonna lie. I totally forgot about that. That's hard, because Fast Feud's a forgettable episode.
Poor Sid, though. I mean, like, she had a poor gravy all over her head because of how disappointed she is.
That was a really dark joke when you think about it.
I was
too
like,
hard.
what?
It's a really dark joke, like, for the Casagrandes. But I'm glad at least they got to see 12 is Midnight and Yu Kwan, and Yu Kwan got to perform and stuff, and they know the song that Ronnie and Sid were singing. Like, I love the little duet they did in this episode with the sandwich song. Super cute. Like, this is it's a really cute episode. It's adorable. Adorable fluff.
Good stuff. I agree.
Yeah. Alright, so let's move on to the next episode, which is Breakfast Bot. Ronnie Anne and her cousins hatch a plan to have Sid's breakfast bot do their chores. All of them. So, also, before we do the episode, I want to say, R.I.P. Dennis 2021. We will miss you, Dennis.
Dennis was a good
Poor
robot.
Dennis. It's sad, we just had Meal Ticket where Breakfast Bot / Dennis was in the episode, that here, he basically died. So sad.
Or did he? Or did he?
Remember
what happened? Remember at the end, though?
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh.
They think he's dead.
Yeah, no, watch. Dennis is gonna come back. He's gonna come back for revenge. Like,
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
Will that be the next Halloween episode where Dennis comes back from the dead to attack them? Oh my god.
Watch him have more electronics with him just to mess around with the Casagrande family.
Oh my god, that it's like Bad Cluck just with Dennis. That would be amazing. I would love that episode. But what do you guys think of this episode? The Breakfast Bot episode? Who wants to go first?
Omid, you can go ahead.
All right, thanks. As for my thoughts on Breakfast Bot, I got to be honest, I really loved it because I love that whole twist on it. I love that whole, there's a there's a bit of a commentary here about how we as humans pretty much exploit machines. We pretty much exploit electronic devices. Well, obviously, the first. This is not the first episode of the week um, to pretty much bring out that commentary about how we as humans rely so much on machines and devices. That's actually coincidentally enough, there's actually another Casagrandes episode that we're going to talk about later that sort of brings up that issue too. But with this, I felt that they did a superb job with that sort of commentary, and it really does show how Breakfast Spot becomes way too fed up, way too sick of the Ronnie Anne, Casagrandes, and Sid sort of like, well, less Sid and more of Ronnie and the cousins and Sergio like exploiting the hell out of Breakfast Spot. And so when Sid upgrades Dennis, making him Awesome.0, that's when he starts to, because he's more advanced, he can think for himself. Like he realizes, what am I doing? These menial tasks, they're taking advantage of me. That's it. We're gonna go to war on humans. And I really do like the idea, like humans versus the machines. Well, actually, Casagrandes versus the machines, coincidentally enough. And so when Sid gets kidnapped, it's up to the Super Casagrande cousins to the rescue to save a damsel in distress. I'm like thinking to myself, here comes Ronnie Anne to the rescue to save her princess, her damsel in distress from the evil robots, and so a war continues on, like the war begins.
Yeah, that was pretty gay. Having Ronnie Anne rescue her girlfriend again, pretty gay, Casagrandes. What do you say?
The epic moment where like Ronnie Anne and Sid were like holding hands, and then they had to let go because
oh my god,
pulling Sid away. I'm sorry, but I'm feeling some Sidani vibes there.
Yeah, it's like Casagrandes, just make Sidani canon if you're gonna do that. Come on, it's okay.
Dennis is so evil. Dennis is an evil that must be stopped. How dare he try to pull apart Ronnie Anne and Sid? You don't do that,
how dare
man.
you try to break up our OTP? What are you doing, Dennis? That's why you got thrown into the soup. You tried to break up the
exactly.
ship.
You got what you deserve, buddy. You got what you deserve, Dennis.
All right, so I kind of predicted this that Breakfast Spot was going to be something where like the robots just try to take over like what humans are doing. Like the humans are obviously relying on machines, but of course it's machines' revenge on the humans. I've seen this before in a couple of episodes. I remember in a show, I don't know if you guys, I'm pretty sure you guys know about this show, Big City Greens. There was actually a title called iFarmbot, and it pretty much had the same thing where like this robot comes in and takes over the whole family, and it's up to the family to pretty much destroy the machines from taking over their families, and this is pretty much what happened here in this episode. But feel bad for Breakfast Spot because Breakfast Spot was pretty much being taken advantage of throughout this episode, like taking over with the chores and doing a lot more, doing cooking, doing all the chores, this and that, and kind of makes sense when you keep on upgrading the machine. The machine will get smarter and would go ahead and start taking over the family. But I just love the whole heroics that happened at the end where the Ronnie Anne and the cousins just go on and fight off the Breakfast Spot and then put him into that soup to quote unquote destroy him. And then at the end too, you also get to see that they're also learning their lesson too by just doing their own chores instead of having a robot do it for them. And then at the end, it just tells me that, okay, this Breakfast Spot is not over yet because his arm comes out of that tube and it's like, okay, so some sort of revenge feeling like a Terminator sort of references that I'm seeing also from this episode as well. But I would say very exciting. And like I said, I did predict that this was going to happen. I've seen episodes like this before. It's kind of like a gimmick for cartoons, I think. But like I said, overall exciting. I think this was a pretty good episode overall. And poor Breakfast Spot, or poor Dennis, that he had to go through all of that. But like I said, he might not have died. His arm just came out of that soup. I'm pretty sure he's still alive to say.
Shall we say?
You never know. You never know until the end. You never know until we see him in the future. Where actually, like Dennis would actually make for a great effective villain of the Casagrandes. Like I can imagine, like Dennis himself being like the number one antagonist, the number one bad guy of the show. But however, it is for good reasons though, because at the end of the day, Ronnie Anne, her cousin, Ronnie Anne and her cousins were being way too lazy and like treating him as a slave. So I'd like to think of it more as a sympathetic villain route.
Yeah,
that's true. That'd be really funny if like Dennis became like the main villain of the Casagrandes. Like the fact that the Casagrandes has a main villain. Like just thinking about that makes me like they're a real superhero show now.
I thought this was supposed to be a nice show, you know? They're all about family and stuff. I didn't know that there's a person who hates the family.
Yeah, well,
Breakfast
I mean,
bot?
Remember, like Sergio murdered a chicken, and now we have like a vicious robot come back for revenge.
And the chicken was like haunting that family too in Bad Club.
Exactly,
like,
this show's weird.
You thought we had it all bad. Now we get to see a robot that may not be dead, that could be out for revenge again. I would not be surprised if we have another episode about Breakfast
Just imagine, just imagine telling this to your friends who've never seen the Casagrandes. It's like, hey, there was this episode where like we have a bird murdering a chicken and a robot who wants revenge. People would think we're weird. What is this show? I would love like a sequel episode. Like that should be the true Sid episode of the show. Is Breakfast Bot or Dennis coming back for his revenge, and Sid tries to redeem him somehow. That'd be really fun.
I think it would be something where like Sid would have to be in the everyone would have to go to the rescue and actually.
Oh my gosh! I just thought of something.
Deprogramize the Breakfast Bot. Yeah.
I just thought of something. You know, she said she could rebuild Breakfast Bot, right? So what if in that episode, Breakfast Bot or Dennis, like let's say Dennis, he comes back and he only obviously he hates the Casagrandes but doesn't hate Sid, so he wants to go back to Sid to try be redeemed or whatever. And then he finds out he's been replaced by another Breakfast Bot. It'll be like a Toy Story 3 with Lotso, where he was replaced and he turns evil.
Oh my god.
Casagrandes! Take notes! If that episode happens, it's my idea. I'm taking credit. That's what happens. But that would be amazing.
Yeah. I would imagine them trying to build up that scenario, and if it ends up coming true, we have you to thank for it. All I'm saying.
Yes, I mean that sounds amazing. Like, okay, I don't know where to come from, but yeah, like if that happens, I'm taking the credit, Casagrandes. But you heard from me first. I'll brief this real quick. It was a fun episode. I liked the premise of it because we've seen show like Nate said, we've seen shows do this. Like the name of it, I Breakfast Bot, reminded me of I Annoyed Grunt Bot from The Simpsons, which is one of my favorite Homer and Bart episodes. So when I first heard about I Breakfast Bot, I thought it was going to be a Sid-focused episode, but then ended up being, let's have Breakfast Bot or Dennis do our chores. It's hard to say which one is what, but let's have Breakfast Bot do our chores. But then, now he turned evil. And it reminded me of an episode in Darkwing Duck where Megavolt takes over, because he's an electrical villain, he takes over all the appliances, they start attacking Darkwing. That's what it reminded me of, just taking over all the appliances. Somehow, I don't know how this works in the Casagrandes, because cartoon physics, I'm like, how did that work? That he was able to control everything in the house, but it was still a really funny episode, just the premise of it. Just the idea of a robot taking over, trying to, destroy the Casagrandes. And again, we don't know if Dennis is dead yet and might come back for revenge. And if there is an actual episode where he comes back for revenge, I want it to be a Sid episode where he tries to redeem him. But, overall, the premise is really funny. This is a funny episode. And again, all the Sidani vibes, of course. Just cute Sidani vibes. But yeah, no, really funny episode. I liked it.
I really did too. Yeah, I like I said, I love the whole twist, the whole commentary about humans exploiting machines, electronics for their own good. And another thing that I've observed is that I do love how the villains and the antagonists of the Casagrandes, between the chicken and Dennis, like they're actually the villains. They're the monsters of the Casagrandes' own creation. Like in a way, the Casagrandes themselves created these monsters. Like Sergio made the chicken the bad guy, and the Casagrandes themselves made Dennis the bad guy.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I like
can
this
see that.
They're
metaphor.
the monsters of their own making.
That
Like they're
is
the monsters of
interesting.
their own making.
Yeah, wow, that's a deep meaning. I like that.
Mm.
Very deep meaning we got going here. All right, so then we're gonna jump over to the next episode, which is Dynamic Do Over. When Carl dreams are crushed after meeting El Falcone, Bobby decides to take on the role himself. So personally, I think this episode is one of the best episodes this week, next to Udder Mess. But what did you guys think of Dynamic Do Over?
I'll go first on this one because I think this is actually one of my favorite episodes. Because yeah, I could feel for Carl because you always see him loving El Falcone, watching the show, being obsessed with it, but having his dreams shattered, where that El Falcone actor said like, yeah, started to be a big jerk to Carl, and of course heroes aren't real. That quote pretty much broke his heart, and then just seeing how Carl in angst just throwing away all the El Falcone stuff, like the puzzle, the posters, and all that. And it just makes you feel like, okay, Carl really did get heartbroken there. But at the same time, you also get to see Bobby, who, continues to be that big brother. And you've seen that before in Sink or Swim. And here we go again with Bobby continuing to be that big brother of Carl. And I think he did it so much better here in this episode, where he just dresses up as El Falcone, stage a fake robbery, and stage the whole family to become villains of that series that Carl loves in El Falcone. So you got to see Carlota dress up as one of the villains. You get to see Carlos dress up as one of the villains. You even get to see Rosa also dress up as one of the villains, and it all leads up to an epic battle. It all leads up to an epic like showdown, and just makes Carl so impressed with what was going on with El Falcone. But at the same time, you also get to see a real life robbery actually happen. So Bobby has to play along with it as well. And I just love the fact that like El Falcone still understands why he was El Falcone, why the actor just wanted to be like that hero. And it was crazy how at the end he rescues them and just shows off for Carl, seeing that he's that hero that he imagines, which makes Carl just absolutely loves El Falcone more. So I must say, like, absolutely an amazing episode for Bobby and Carl. A big brother, big brother, little brother moments that have been happening here, and I just feel like these kind of episodes are what makes this Casagrandes just so great. Just having these episodes like this, like having personal interactions between Bobby and Carl, or like having other family members along with them, and they really work out. So just taking back from Sink or Swim and having Dynamic Do-Over come in, most definitely so much better when it comes to the brotherly relationship between Carl and Bobby. So great emphasis on that relationship, and just great emphasis on how family works here, and just how impactful family is when it comes to a family member that's just down in the dumps and all. I have to say, one of the best episodes of this week, and I really am proud to see how I'm really proud to see how this bonding relationship between Bobby and Carl is. Right, go ahead, Omid.
Okay, now I am very, very excited to talk about this episode, because let me tell you, out of all the 8 episodes that we are going to be talking about in this podcast, Dynamic Do-Over is my most favorite one of them all. I'm dead serious. Like, it ranks number 1 for me in this week's Casagrande episode rankings. And it is most definitely one of my favorite Casagrandes episodes ever. Like, it's honestly, it ranks among my top 3 favorite Casagrande episodes of all time. It is that good. Like, everything about this episode is just so wholesome. It's just so action-packed. It's so thrilling. It's so heartwarming. Just like from every single aspect, every single angle, like, just puts a smile on my face. Now, for the superhero aspect, I really do love that they really nailed down all these homages to the old comics from the 50s and 60s, such as Batman, such as Spider-Man, such as, all the famous superheroes that we all know and love. I really love that it's a mesh of all of these comics together. Like you got Commissioner El Gordo, which is kind of a homage to Commissioner Gordon from the Batman mythos. You also got La Cobra, who heavily reminds me of the Lizard from Spider-Man. By the way, Carlota as La Cobra is one of the most attractive things I have ever seen. And just all around, I love the color scheme that they went through, where Bobby supposedly fights these bad guys. Just like the color scheme, the bright red, the bright yellow, like it reminded me heavily of all the old comics that were published during the time. So I really like that they really nailed that like to a T. And also on another side, we got the actor of El Falcone himself. Like, of course, he gets fed up. He gets a bit tired of all these crazy fanboys, coming up to him asking millions of questions. So, of course, while it was a bit herky-jerky of him to snap at Carl like that, you can, like, while you do condemn him, you kind of understand where he's coming from because, he's trying to, have as much patience as possible, but then it gets kind of tested with these fanboys. But you can't really blame Carl for it because, he's a kid after all. He believes superheroes are real. So you kind of see it from both sides. But then at the end, he comes to learn that his true purpose of being a hero is to help others in more ways than one. Not just by saving them, but also by giving them hope, giving them someone to look up to. So I really do like that. It's not just the main characters that learn the lesson. It's also El Falcone, the actor himself, that comes to learn his own lesson as well. And then there's also the family aspect. That's the most wholehearted part because you really do see Bobby at his most sweetest and also Bobby probably at his best because you can really see the lengths that he goes through in order to keep Carl happy, in order to keep him believing in El Falcone, because El Falcone is what makes Carl happy. It's what gives him hope at the end. So I really do like that. Like I said, Bobby goes through many lengths, like from taking Carl to the comic shop to condemning the actor after he snaps at Carl, to cosplaying as El Falcone, to even getting his family to help him with his goal to cheer up Carl. Like, you can tell that Bobby's intentions are totally in the right place. And even when Carl himself finds out about the whole ruse, you can see how upset Carl is on him. The thing is that we know that Bobby's intentions are in the right place. He may have done it like through a bit of a dishonest way, but the thing is, it was the only way to keep Carl's hopes up. It was the only way to keep Carl's happiness up. So, honestly, this is something you just gotta applaud him for that. Honestly, and also the chase scene, the action scenes. Like I said, they're both really thrilling to watch. They're just really fun to watch overall. However, it's also the family aspect, the heartwarming aspects that also hold this episode up. It's honestly the best of both worlds, pretty much. And all these reasons and much more are why I consider Dynamic Do-Over my personal favorite episode of this week, even outranking Udder Mess, and also top 3 episodes right alongside Croaked and Guilt Trip.
Yeah, wow. I have to echo like what you said there, because I actually gave Dynamic Do-Over a 10 out of 10, which I barely give to any episodes of The Loud House of the Casagrandes, because personally, I don't think that, like, to me, the show never has, like, a perfect episode where I give it a perfect score. Because the last time I ever gave a perfect score to an episode in The Loud House was Game Off, because that episode really just blew me away with the ending. And here, this episode, again, like, Udder Mess to me is my favorite episode of season 2, or one of my favorite episodes of season 2, but that's not, but like, when we talk about it, to me, it's not a perfect episode. This episode to me is a perfect episode, because they moved from Sink or Swim, where we had Bobby and Carl in that episode, that this episode they continue to develop the relationship and the bond between Bobby and Carl, where Bobby is like a big brother to Carl, where Bobby did all of this for Carl. Like he had Carl go see his hero, which was really sweet. Like he actually let him go to the comic shop and meet his hero, and Carl was so excited. But when he found out that his hero wasn't who he thought he was going to be, Bobby even called out the actor. He's like, dude, that was not cool. Like, Bobby stood up for Carl, and that was amazing. And then when Carl, was giving up and throwing his stuff all away, Bobby was trying to figure out ways to get Carl to believe in El Falcone again, to where he dressed up as the hero and got all the Casagrandes to follow in his plan with dressing up as the super villains and helping them out with pretending there was a robbery and stuff. And again, all the lengths that Bobby went to do this for Carl. And when Carl found out that Bobby was lying, Carl was really upset. But Bobby was like, well, I was doing this so you would just believe again. And I really loved that the actor who played El Falcone was trying to figure out, well, why am I still doing this? And it wasn't until he saw Bobby talking to Carl about this that he realized exactly why he's doing this. Because kids like Carl need somebody to look up to. They need heroes because Carl's 8 years old, and so finding that a fictional superhero on TV is his true hero and someone he looks up to and praises and admires and has helps him go through with life is something very really special to Carl. So when Carl found out that his hero wasn't who he thought he was and was upset and was gonna not believe him anymore, this episode really reminded me of Argue for Real from the Loud House, where Lincoln had to make Clyde believe in Arg again after finding out the ghosts weren't real. Whereas here, it felt more genuine because of how much Bobby went to have Carl believe in El Falcone again, and then the actor say thank you for helping me remember why I'm playing this actor in the first place, so kids can believe in me and believe in something. And it was just super sweet. I really love the relationship between Bobby and Carl. They've done such a great job. I love Sink or Swim, except for the poop jokes, but this episode, they did such a great job, and I agree, this is one of the best episodes of season 2, in my opinion, next to An Udder Mess and Guilt Trip. They're like three-way tie for me of best season 2 episodes. I knew I would love this episode because Bobby and Carl, but it was fantastic. Again, all the references to 60s Batman was wonderful. Again, Commander Gordo, love that. I love what superhero aesthetics. The way they did some styles with the comic book style was wonderful. They did such a great job with this episode, and I loved it. Really loved it. To me, it's a perfect episode.
Yeah, honestly, I definitely agree, and especially for someone like me who's a pretty big fan of superhero media. I love the Marvel movies. I love My Hero Academia. I love the DC shows, DC content, the Batman Arkham games, and all that stuff. As a fan of superhero media in general, this is another thing that really elevates this episode for me. It's just it really does touch my heart, not just as a Casagrandes fan, not just as a fan of family bonding episodes, but also as a superhero fan myself. It touches me in all the right ways.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Most definitely. I mean, like I said, family episodes just like these, we need more of this around here in the Casagrandes, and this definitely hits home hits definitely most home here.
Absolutely, because I've loved that Bobby's gotten some good episodes with the family this season. Again, Guilt Trip is one of my favorite episodes from this season, because we haven't had a Bobby and Ronnie Anne episode about their sibling relationship. So that episode was just again, perfect because it was a Bobby and Ronnie Anne episode, and they got to do some bonding, helping their mother out. And here, Bobby again being a good big brother to Carl, with helping him believe in El Falcone again. I love the development of Bobby's character and how he really cares about the family, especially again, Carl not being his biological brother, Ronnie Anne is his biological sister, but the fact that he has this brotherly relationship with Carl is amazing. I love, again, like you said, family episodes are the best episodes, so I absolutely agree. It's a great episode.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
All right,
I agree,
so,
100%.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the next episode, which is Home Improvement. Laird is nervous to host movie night at his house, so Ronnie Anne helps him pretend Arturo's pad is his own. So, this episode, yeah,
Oh god.
yeah,
Oh,
this
boy.
episode,
Let's just
This is-
put the cat out of the bag here.
This is
this
gonna be interesting.
episode.
This is
Let's
gonna be
just put
interesting.
let's just put out the cat. Let's just put the cat out of the bag here.
Let's just say real
please
quick.
No ships. Please no ships of what happened in this episode.
One thing: do not ship.
Oh, God.
No one. Do not ship
Yeah.
Laird x Ronnie Anne. It is not a real thing. It is just a joke. It's not a real thing. Okay? They were just pretending. It's not a real thing, guys. Laird x Ronnie is not a thing. We all know who Ronnie Anne belongs to. Two
Oh,
of them.
Yes.
Imagine this. Like, imagine if this is the first time seeing a Casagrandes episode, right? And
Yeah.
the very first episode they see is Home Improvement, and then I'm just like, okay, don't get any wrong ideas, okay?
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
not check.
Like people, like I
You haven't
remember
seen
some.
enough. You haven't seen enough.
Like, I remember people saw these images out of context, and they're like asking me, is this a real thing? Like, no, it's a joke. It's not a real thing. Ronnie Anne is with Lincoln, or Sid, or both, you know, whoever you ship, whoever's the ship to you. But, like, no, Ronnie Anne has two other options, not Laird. It's just a joke. But I'm still curious as to...
Like,
no, go ahead, sorry.
to Nikki. Give Laird to Nikki, okay? I'm just saying.
Yes, give Laird to
Yes.
Nikki, yes. My friend Adri has, like, made the Nikki x Laird ship go off, and I absolutely approve of that ship. Or Nikki, or not Nikki.
Oh yeah,
Laird
I've
x
seen
Sid.
I've seen the ship. I also seen some fan art from Laird and Nikki, and I think that's a cute couple to ship with.
But no, Laird and Ronnie Anne, not a thing. Laird does not like Ronnie Anne. Like, I remember...
Although, I mean, like, it's convincing. I mean, like, they were really convincing throughout the episode because they were all just saying, like, ooh, whenever, like, Laird sits with Ronnie Anne.
Yeah, like, that's the thing, like...
That tells me that Sid was into that, too. And I'm like, Sid!
Yeah, I'm like, why is Sid into this? Yeah, like, wait a minute, Sid Audie,
it's like-
hello? Why is Sid liking
okay.
this? I thought Sid would be like, but I thought I was Ronnie Anne's girlfriend. Why are you shipping her with Laird? Aren't you shipping her with me? Come on. You know, it's just so weird
Yeah,
that
it's like-
Sid liked it.
Like, she kind of objected to Ronnie Anne being in love with Lincoln back in Horoscope. So I'm just like, okay. So she objected to Ronnie Anne being with Lincoln in Horoscope, but yet she's 100% okay with this?
Yeah, it's so weird. It's like, again, character consistency. What's that? You know? What's the character
That's another problem for the
consistency?
Casagrandes. Ooh.
Yeah, I mean,
Consistency with the characters.
I feel like she was just going along with it just because the gang were shipping them, but like that just gave me a whole idea of, well, now I understand why Ronnie Anne doesn't want Lincoln to be in love with her or vice versa, because if she told them that she likes Lincoln, they're all just gonna tease her about it. So I totally understand Ronnie Anne not wanting to say anything, but you know, like the fact that Nikki's the shipper though, like.
Oh.
It's a different side. It's a different side for Nikki because, like, you always see Nikki as the tomboy who loves to skate, but you never see the girly side of Nikki where she just like loves romance too. So whenever she sees a ship, you can totally see that she's absolutely into it. So
Yeah.
Nikki, so I guess you have some hidden feelings for a couple ships there. I would imagine.
Yeah, Nikki, I hate to tell this to you, Nikki, but you weren't shipping the right canon ship. Once you find out what the real canon ship
Like I
is,
said,
just wait.
wait until she sees Ronnie Anne and Lincoln. Then
Yeah,
ooh,
once she sees
boy.
oh, yes. I'm just saying, once she finds out Lincoln wants to skateboard for Ronnie, and she's gonna be like, oh my god, you know.
Oh, how sweet!
I'm-
And then she gets her
I'm waiting for that
her eyes comes in.
Like, I am just waiting for that to happen. I'm honestly, one of the main things I'm hyping for in the new comics now is just seeing Nikki's shipper side.
Yes, I want Nikki shipper so badly. Like, now that I've seen that, like, the friend, like, her, like, Ronnie Anne's friends are huge shippers, like, please bring Lincoln back into the show, and he meets the friends again, just so they can start shipping Ronnie and Lincoln together. That's all I want now, this potential of that. But, yeah, besides that, what do you guys think of, we have the first Laird focus episode. What do you guys think of Laird getting his own episode?
I mean, you go first in this one.
Okay, now my thoughts on Laird himself. Honestly, I find him a pretty sort of character. Like, I feel that he's there just to fill up the spot as the sixth member of Ronnie Anne's own gang because, recently Stella was the sixth member of Lincoln's gang. So, you got to have like an equal amount of gang members, like uh, Lincoln Squad, Ronnie Anne Squad, and all that. Now, Laird himself I find to be pretty mad because I feel that he serves as nothing more than to be a how do I put it? What's the word I'm looking for?
Like a punchy bag? A punchy bag?
He serves as nothing more than a punchy bag. Yeah, like he's just there just to get hurt in all the wacky things. And the thing is, having that type of trope, having that kind of archetype character isn't actually a bad idea as long as you do more with it. Because Eugene and Hey Arnold, like he's a punchy bag himself. Like he's the Jinx. Like we all know he gets hurt, but he gets hurt in more creative ways than one. And unlike Laird, Eugene has more layers to his character, where he's always optimistic. He looks on the bright side. He knows when he's been betrayed. Hence Eugene goes bad. There's just Eugene all around is like a much more interesting character. He was more of a character, whereas Laird, I feel that his only purpose is just to be the sixth member of the gang and just to be a punchy bag to get hurt for comic relief, and that's pretty much it. Now, in terms of how he held his own episode, I have to say that it was pretty serviceable. It was nice to see him have his own episode. And I felt that not one of the best, but certainly fun to watch. Like, well, mainly because you got Ronnie Anne's own friends, other friends, like pretty much like having their own set of humor, having their own set of laughs. Another thing I should mention about Laird is that for some reason his voice kind of irks me. Like he always has this nervous, high-pitching voice whenever he speaks. I honestly don't know why. I mean, it's not like he has anything to be nervous about. Well, of course, other than the fact that he pretends that Arturo's room is his own house. But really, that's really about it. Even before that, he always has that voice, and it's kind of annoying. You see what I mean? I do love the climax, though, with the evil Hat Man. Just sure, it may have been done before with a horror trope where you kind of, well, LoudHouse kind of did this too with Price of Admission, where Lincoln watches a scary movie and then he thinks that the harvester is out to get him, like the harvester, and then it turns out to be like all fake. The same thing here. I do like that they have their own twist on it, with Arturo trying to get into the house, and then the Ronnie and her friends thinking, "Oh my God, the evil Hat Man's here! Let's run!" It was just really fun to see. It was because you could feel that you're watching like a legitimate horror themed episode. It's definitely perfect for Halloween, definitely. Oh, and also another thing I should point out is oh my God, the twist at the end where Laird somehow like lives in a luxurious place. I'm just thinking, I kind of saw it coming because look at the way the guy dresses. Look at the way this kid dresses. Look at that. He dresses like he's in prep school or something. Like he's at this boarding school, in a sense. So I was a bit confused as to why he would be embarrassed that he would have to hide his place, like in the first place. Why would he have to hide his house in the first place? But especially like given that you can't really hide. There's no reason to hide it because, well, look at this place. It's rich, it's luxurious, and all that. But then I thought back to an episode of South Park where Token gets ripped on for being rich, and Token sort of feels ashamed of it. Feels ashamed of being like an upper class boy hanging out with middle class boys. I think that Laird sort of shares this dilemma where he's sort of ashamed of his his class, his status as a rich boy hanging out with middle class or poor friends. So I'm sort of thinking that's where they're going with. So honestly, it's one of those things where like I sort of question it, but I sort of understand at the same time. Oh, and also, yeah, that's my thoughts on Home Improvement. And no, no, don't think of the Tim Allen sitcom. We're not talking about the Tim Allen sitcom. We're talking about the Casagrandes episode.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
I love how they put the same title for that too. It's like Home Improvement. Home Improvement. Wait, that '90s show?
Yeah. Omid, I want to say real quick, thank you for mentioning South Park because like I'm a new fan of South Park now, but Butters is best boy. So yeah, I knew what you were talking about in South Park.
Opinion: Carpin is best boy, but Butters is up there.
Butters is
great.
best boy.
Butters is innocent boy. Butters is innocent. Okay.
Butters is best boy. But Carpin's cool too, but Butters is best boy. All right, Nate, what about you?
Yeah. So I would have to say, coming into this, this was, I mean, it was kind of like pointed out there that the synopsis was going to be a Laird episode. So, I mean, a more focused episode for Laird, and which is interesting because, yeah, we always get to see some focused episode for some side characters, but out of the whole friend group, Laird would be that person. We didn't have a Nikki episode. We didn't have a Samir episode or even a Sid episode. So, you know, there's no focus episodes on those best friends. When are we going to have those? We've been always questioning about that Sid focused episode for so long, but I guess we'll go with Laird at the moment. But yeah, I thought that was actually not a bad episode. I mean, I understand Laird's point of like, you know, coming into the episode, we're thinking that Laird's house was just a dump or something. So we, you know, obviously had to go through the whole thing where Laird just takes over Arturo's house, and Arturo's on vacation, and Laird just takes over their house and just gets a movie over there. And the other thing that's crazy about it too is that the whole sequence where Arturo does come back home and the whole Hatman synopsis happens where they're all thinking that they're a part of the Hatman movie now, and they're all trying to make sure that Hatman guy doesn't come in. I thought that was pretty cool that they have some moments there where they tried to get Arturo to not go into the house or try to capture him or not take over what's happening with the friends and all. But when they revealed that it was Arturo, they had to apologize and all that kind of stuff. But I love the fact that Laird stood up to himself and said, like, yeah, this is not my place, but you know what? I'm not shy anymore. I'm going to show you guys my place. And it makes sense why he decided to just not, you know, to not show that place. Because, like, yeah, from when you come into the episode, you just think that Laird is like a person who doesn't have a good house. But it turns out that he actually does have a fancy house, maybe fancier than every other house that the rest of the squad has. So that's another point there where, you know, you don't want to get... you don't want to be like that old show-offy person, because if you turn out to be a show-offy person, you'll have a lot of people take advantage of you. And I just hope that Laird doesn't get into that sort of situation in upcoming episodes for the Casagrandes. And FYI, with the whole place of Laird just being being a mansion, and just the fact that the water fountain is actually Laird himself, I kind of feel like it's actually his place. Like his parents probably bought it for him. And I'm like, wow, your parents must be hella loaded or something. Or you're loaded yourself too. So where has this been? And another thing too is that is there going to be probably another episode where we get to see Laird probably back at his house or something? They're probably going to be hanging out more at Laird's house more than any other house, I would imagine. So the next movie night is probably going to be all in Laird's place. Who knows? But a learning lesson for like people who watch this episode, like, you don't need to be so shy to show off like who you are when it comes to places, or when it comes to like seeing how your class is, whether middle class or very rich and fancy. So as long as your friends are okay with who you are, then that's the point of the whole episode. Just to say that, hey, they're not going to judge you for how you rank or how low you are or how middle class you are. They'll judge you who of a person you are, and that's I think what the focus was here in this episode. So great episode that the writers did point out here, and I think this was a pretty good episode just to revolve around that focus around that topic.
I
Yeah.
also love that at the end. I also loved Arturo's line at the end where, like, after they're in Laird's mansion, Arturo's like, "Can I pretend this is my place?" I laughed so hard at that line. I laughed so hard.
I still think one of the funniest, well, two of the fun. Oh, actually, there's a lot of funny lines in this episode. One of my favorites is like at the end when they confront Laird about the thing. Casey just goes, "Wait a minute, so you're not in love with Ronnie Anne?" And Laird just rolls his eyes. That was really funny.
Priorities, right?
Priorities much.
Right?
Yeah, it's like, guys, I know you want to ship Ronnie in with somebody. Okay, we got somebody for her. Just calm down, guys. Wait later. I even
we got someone. We got someone much better, by the way. Ronnie Anne already has a man that's so much better.
Wrong L name, by the way, guys. Wrong L name. Not Laird. We got another L name for Ronnie Anne. Okay. I also liked when Nikki was like, "If I don't make it out alive, Sid gets my skateboard." And Sid's like, "Yes!" And then like Ronnie Anne was like, "Sid gets my skateboard. Why does she need 2 skateboards?" or
I
like,
love that one too. That's a lot of funny lines.
Or like when Sid was like, "Oh my gosh, you got the juicer. Make me a smoothie, Laird." This is a really funny episode. And especially the best line where Ronnie Anne is opening up the drawer and Casey goes, "Are you jiggling it?" And she goes, "You see me jiggling." You see me... Like,
that was cute.
My God. Yeah, it's like
giggling.
This is a funny episode. A lot of great one-liners in this episode. Really funny. But, like, it was nice to get a Laird-focused episode because, like you said, he's basically the Stella of the group, and Stella got her own focus episode, so why not Laird, the newest member of the group? And we all knew in the end he'd be rich just because the way he dresses. He pretty much is, comes from a rich family, so it makes sense that he'd probably be ashamed of being rich just because, like, oh, my friends find out I'm rich, they would just like me for being rich, So, I mean, obviously, they're probably just gonna, like, scrap the whole, let's share movie night. No, we're just gonna have it at Laird's place. It's fine. Like, don't need to share anymore. But, it's cool that they, like, start to explore the other characters. I just wish we could have just gotten a Sid episode before Laird. Like, Sid deserves it. I hate to say Sid deserves it more than Laird, but Sid's the secondary main character of the Casagrandes, and I don't know why Adelaide and Laird got episodes before her, but, it's cool that Laird got a focus episode. He's not the most interesting character of the bunch, just a stereotype that's, like, the nerdy, kid who always gets hurt and stuff, but it's cool they, like, gave him an episode, we learned more about him, but I feel like the other squad members, like Nikki or Sid, of course, need an episode more than Laird, but, it's nice that they just did this one hopefully it's just the one episode. I mean, again, another one fine, but I'd rather they just focus on the other characters first before we get another Laird episode.
Yeah, it was weird. The order was weird. Why Laird before all the more interesting, more better characters of Ronnie Anne's group? But like I said,
Sid? That's my question. Why Laird over Sid?
I guess they just haven't, like, figured out what to do with Sid, because, like Sid, when Sid's in an episode, she makes everything better, but it's like, how do we make, like, a really good character a really great episode, because Sid's already a great character on her own, but, like, what would a full episode about her be like? Because it's, like, a very anticipated, they have to make a perfect episode for all of us to enjoy that's focused on one of the best characters, so, like, how do you do that? I don't know. Like, I'm hoping it's, like, a full episode about the Changs and not just Sid, but you're just to do a Sid episode, like, where it's like the Clyde episode, where Clyde was the focus and Lincoln was the support. If you just do a Sid episode with Ronnie and as a support, then that's good. But if you do a Chang, the one with just the focus on the Changs would be cool too. Like, they probably haven't figured it out yet, but maybe this season we'll finally get that Sid episode.
What I want to see personally is actually a Sid episode with Adelaide. I want to see a Chang's sister episode.
Yes. Oh my God.
Because it's sad that Adelaide got an episode before Sid. That's just kind of sad, Like, I don't know why. And Sid and Adelaide barely hang out, and they're sisters. Sid always hangs out with Ronnie Anne.
you could probably put Croaked as one of those episodes because they did hang out with each other, but it was like more of Sid and Ronnie Anne trying to convince.
It was more Sid Ani than Sid and... Like, the closest we got to them hanging out was in the Arc episodes, in Room for Improvement, when they hung out at the park.
I remember, yeah.
But
when they were playing in the sandcastle, the sandbox. They were playing in the sandbox.
That was pretty much it. But yeah, I feel like if they could have like a sister episode with the Changs, that'd be really cute to see.
Yeah, because as much as I like the Carl and Adelaide relationship, I'd like to see Adelaide and Sid have a sister episode. Just do that, because I waited so long for the Bobby and Ronnie Anne episode. We finally got it. So like, just do a Sid episode or an episode with the Changs.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to the next episode, Undivided Attention. Carlota can't seem to pay attention to anything but her phone, so Carlos sets her up with a math tutor. This episode, I have a lot to say, but what do you guys think of the Carlota episode?
Oh boy, I had to mention a lot of things. I know that in our CasaLoud chat that we had yesterday, I can't say much about this episode because I really don't like how the Carlota episodes are running right now. Because I mean, yeah, we get to see Carlota. I just need to see more of Carlota because we just see her mostly as an influencer, getting on her phone, talking to people, live streaming, all this kind of stuff. Anything more impactful for Carlota in this episode? Not really necessarily. I mean, all we get to see is that she's just absolutely distracted with her phone, and she has this math tutor. By the way, representation for Native Americans, so a huge shout out to that episode, because Native Americans need to be more representative, especially when it comes to like cartoons. So for that teacher, I would say that was a proud moment for Native Americans for sure. But besides that, Carlota really didn't have much to say here. It's just more like she's just on her phone, getting distracted. Plus, at the same time, she wants to get that tutor away from her. And the other thing, too, is that, yeah, we get the point that she's absolutely distracted on everything because she was thinking that that person that Carlos hooked her up with was going to be her date. But no, it's just a tutor. She was just to tutor her for her finals, but she never realized that. And I'm like, okay, so you're pretty much were scatterbrained throughout the whole episode until that moment where you realize, oh, you have to study for your finals and you have to go back to your tutor and actually say, hey, let's go get this done and get straight B's. So, yeah, I mean, disappointed with the fact that this is a Carlota episode that could have had more emphasis on Carlota, because we've had episodes like VIP, then Shortcut, that had some potential where Carlota could have had more character development or something that could have emphasized Carlota a whole lot more, but to each their own. And this one didn't really help out with Carlota's impact on like having a better role in the Casagrandes. So I mean, I really like Carlota. I think she's an awesome character, but what you're showing me right now is she's still an influencer. She's still hooked on her phone. She's just absolutely like one of those girls that always loves to be like an influencer, like being live streamed on her phone, or all that kind of stuff. You gotta give me something more than that. Maybe like a family moment with Carlota or something like that. I know that they're having more episodes in season 2, so let's just hope that there'll be more Carlota episodes that could be very much impactful to her character in the next upcoming episodes for the season. But yeah, disappointed with this Carlota episode. I just hope more Carlota episodes can get more focus on her. But yeah, disappointed.
Okay, so I guess I'll go next. All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, yep.
All right, now, to all the Loud House of Casagrandes fans, to all the listeners out there, may I have your undivided attention, please? I repeat, may I have your undivided attention, please?
Yes,
as
sir.
I discuss this episode and why I personally believe that it's a serviceable episode. Thank you. Now,
Okay.
the best thing about this episode, what really holds it up for me is the message. The message being that, you can't just be distracted with one thing. You can't, sometimes you got to put away your electronic devices and just, focus on your goals, focus on what you're doing. And like I said, going back to the social commentary I brought up, where what they tried to do with iBreakfast Spot, Here, this is a similar commentary, but in a more different approach. This is an episode that really does delve into the psychic of the human mind, like the human concentration, because we have our Carlota moments as well. Like, we all have that one game, we all have that one TV show, we all have that one movie that we binge on so hard that our focus and our attention and our eyes are completely glued to that certain type of media. And I feel that they really nailed it with Carlota, because we've seen Carlota as the girl who is obsessed with her phone and all that stuff. And especially with a game that is focused on fashion, which is what Carlota is into, it really does make sense when you think of her character and when you think of her love for fashion and her love for social media and all that stuff. So pretty much, I do like that the pacing of it. Like, the more and more she gets addicted to the game, the more and more she becomes less out of touch with the world. Like, she becomes less and less out of touch with the real world, which of course understandably frustrates her father, Carlos. I really do love Carlos's role in this, because we've often seen characters like Rosa, and we've even seen Frida put their foot down in terms of their kids. Whereas Carlos is just there for to blurt out a fact or something like that, to bear just become a belief. Here, he shows himself as like a disciplinary father. Like, he shows himself like to be a tough love sort of father. He shows himself that, to sort of put his foot down in terms of Carlota, saying that, like, Carlota, you're so addicted to the phone and you're throwing away your future. You need to focus on your grades, young lady, all that stuff. I really like that they finally took that approach with Carlos. I would say this is one of Carlos's best episodes. Now, some jokes are hit or miss. There are times where Carlota came off as really, really obnoxious, and it sort of irked me a little bit to see her like this. And while it may have been irritable, it may have irritated me so much that she consistently thought that it was a date. I felt that it served a purpose to help fulfill the moral of the episode, which is that you gotta put away your devices, put aside your devices, just like focus on your work. And I feel that this is a message that really needs to be taught in society. This is a moral that society itself needs, because, like I said, we ourselves get addicted to games, shows, and movies from our devices. So I feel that, we're in Carlota's shoes in a sense. And also, huge shout out to Charles. No, I'm not talking about Charles the dog, okay? Wrong show, wrong household. We're not talking about that Charles. We're talking about Lakota Charles. Lakota Charles himself is actually a really likable character. You can really tell that he is trying so hard to get Carlota to pay attention. Like, honestly, give this guy a medal, give this guy a raise, because like his patience is just like it's beyond Miles. Like, his patience is just way, way over the top, up to a point. And understandably, there are times where he does lose his patience, but that's because, like I said, Carlota was acting way too obnoxious over a misunderstanding, like, nonetheless. So, you can see that while Charles has incredible patience, there are times where he does have his limits, though. So Carlota has pushed those limits, so that's on her. I do like that he comes to warm up to Carlota in the end after she apologizes, and due to her finally focusing and paying attention on her goals and her homework, studying and all that stuff, she ends up passing with flying colors. Well, flying colors with B's and stuff, but still, B's are good grades in and of itself. Oh, and also one more thing I got to add is that apparently Lenny is playing this for Safari game too. Like, Lenny's getting in on the action too, which makes sense. She's a fashionista too. So, all in all, like I do feel that the episode had some issues here and there, but it's really Carlos himself, Charles himself, and just the overall commentary and message that does uphold the episode.
Wow, like, I gotta give you props, Omid. Like, you really found a good way to, like, view this episode with the message, because I absolutely agree with the message of the episode. Like, again, it's a very, like, relatable, like, message of, oh, we need to stop looking at our phones so much and getting distracted at things, because, like, I like to say, I get distracted every time like a new episode of Loud House of Casagrandes comes on, and like I don't focus on my homework, or when I'm eating, I'm like shaking thinking about the new episodes and stuff. So yeah, like our media does take over our lives, especially when we're like very dedicated to it as fans of certain things, like or games as Carlota did. However, like Nate said, Carlota just isn't an interesting character, and I hate that they haven't done anything interesting with her and in any episode she appears in. Like, they always have to balance her out with a character that's more interesting with her to make the episode redeemable, or not redeemable, interesting. Like, VIP'd, the best part of the episode was the family being funny. Shortcut, the best part of the episode was CJ, not Carlota. This episode, the best part was Charles, not Carlota to me. Like, Carlota is just, like, to me, she's just season one Lori, just sucked all the personality out, and she's just there for me. She'll all, like, they just don't do anything interesting with her character, and I don't like being negative about a character in the Casagrandes, but they just don't do anything with her, and I like, no matter, like, it's like, I was like, okay, another Carlota episode, fine, I guess, and it was still fine. It was just fine. Like, it's just, like, I don't like being negative towards Carlota, because I know a lot of people like her. It's like, she has an interesting design, but not an interesting personality. She, like, has the personality of a cracker, and I want them to do more with her than just what they've been doing with her lately. It's just, like, she does that obsessed with her phone. Well, okay, well, what else? But, like, I like that Charles was trying so hard to get her to not be distracted by her phone and stuff. But again, Carlota just hasn't had any interesting episodes. Like, ever since like Pranks for the Memories, I just haven't had any attachment to her as a character, and ever since then, I just don't find her episodes engaging. And I hope that in the future they finally figure out what the heck to do with Carlota to make her interesting. Like, that's my main complaint. Is just I just don't care for Carlota as a character.
Yeah, I mean, we
Yeah.
really need to have more focused Carlota episodes. I mean, come on. I mean, like, yeah, we have I think like 3 episodes that focus like on Carlota, like her struggle. I mean, the struggles when it comes to Shortcut. I think that was one. I think it was okay. But I mean, there's got to be something more about Carlota that we need to know, and hopefully get more episodes about her. Something that's a little bit more impactful for her. But at the moment, I just see her more of that influencer type person that kind of is a person that I'm iffy about,
Yeah, honestly, Carla had the potential to be the best part of the episode because, like I said, Carlota resembles us because, like I said, we get addicted to the stuff we love as well. So, Carlota had the opportunity to make her character, relatable. I mean, she was somewhat relatable, but then there were times where she came off as, I wouldn't say she was bland. She was more like obnoxious in a way. Like, honestly, the best character for me was, like I said, Carlos, because, he's finally being a legit father in this episode. Like, he's actually being a disciplinary dad. I high props to Carlos, and he set her up with Charles in the first place. So major props to that.
Yeah, I don't have much to say other than I just want Carlota to get more interesting episodes. Like, if they continue to give Carlota episodes, then fine, but just do something more interesting with her than just her be on her phone or being an influencer or whatever. Like, I suggested this on Casa Live. I would love an episode where Carlota enters a fashion show and is trying to compete against other people, like making fashion designs for like celebrities. Like, if you bring back Ally Brooke in the show, you could have her like model like Carlota's designs or stuff that she's making, and then like you find out the last person in the competition who she's competing against is Lenny from the Loud House. That's the big reveal.
Yeah.
Like, that would be amazing. Like, that was how you do the crossover. Because, like, when I found out Lenny was doing the game, like, the fashion game, I'm like, oh my god, what if you had an episode where Carlota and Lenny compete in a fashion show? Like, the big reveal would be Lenny. It's like, oh no, it's Lenny from the Loud House. Oh my god, that would be amazing. Like, again, Casagrandes, I'm giving you good ideas. Write them down. I'll take the credits.
Yes.
Yes. I was just thinking about that. The moment you mentioned fashion rivals, the first thing that popped into my mind was Lenny. Like, Lenny would be the perfect rival for Carlota.
Oh my god, like,
I've been waiting for an episode with Lenny and Carlota. Come on, they're both fashionistas and they're both like potential influencers. So absolutely have those two together, work on something, maybe have a big time fashion television show or something, or a competition with those two. I mean, that would be really epic though.
Oh my gosh, like Ronnie Anne helping Carlota throughout the fashion show, and when the big reveal happens that it's Lenny and Lincoln's there, like Ronnie and Lincoln also have to become rivals in the episode because they're heling their big sisters help, and they're like competition, like rivals to lovers. Oh my god, Casagrandes, I got the ideas. There we go. Write them down. I hear them. Write it down. I got you again.
It's like this. Like, we have a Carlota centered episode where she becomes a fashionista. But then, and we're supposed to root for her, right? But then somewhere down the middle, it's revealed that Lenny is the rival, and I'm just like, well, bye, Carlota. Team Lenny for life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're like, oh, it's Carlota episode. Lenny reveal. Oh, well, bye, Carlota. Oh my god, that would be amazing. Like, again, that's how you do a cool crossover. Like, the big reveal, it's Lenny. Oh my god, like, we would love that episode that happened. Oh my god. Or we just find out, in the first moment it's Lenny. But, like, I would love that. Like, Carlota and Lenny being fashion rivals. That would be a great episode. All right. So we're gonna get to the big episodes, of course. We're gonna talk about the big episodes. But the big episodes, one episode great and one episode not so great. We're talking about the not so great episode first, sadly. Teacher's Friends. When Ronnie Anne finds out her dad is dating her teacher, she teams up with Sid to break them up ASAP. So guys, this episode was something.
That's something,
right. Right. But I'm sure you guys have something to say about it. If who wants to go first?
I'll go ahead and actually just go out here and just say I was absolutely disappointed with this episode because I was thinking that at the end I was thinking Arturo would have a date with Mrs. Gallardo or whatever the teacher's name is, I forgot. I just felt that, this is absolutely so strange because I understand Ronnie Anne. I mean, like, Arturo's open to dating, which is great, and I know Ronnie Anne was in on it. But the thing is, just the fact that it's her teacher makes Ronnie Anne a little irked about it. And throughout the whole episode, we get to see Ronnie Anne just try to break them up, and it's like, oh my god, Ronnie Anne, you're so out of character here. Why don't you support your dad? Dating your teacher. There's nothing wrong with that. But I can understand Ronnie Anne's point there about being embarrassed about it because you can totally see her being embarrassed and all, but just so out of character for Ronnie Anne just to break them up, and it's just also I get to see the aggressive side of Ronnie Anne again because I haven't seen that since I would imagine Copy Can't when she got aggressive of not having Carlito pay attention to Ronnie Anne to say, but yeah, just throughout this whole episode, Ronnie Anne, I can't believe you do something like that where they actually did break up and all, so your plan worked and everything. And then the other thing too was at the end where you get to see Mrs. Gallardo and Arturo pretty much cry about their breakup to say, but instead it wasn't a breakup. It's more like, oh, Arturo cried because her soccer team lost, and Miss Gallardo cried because she was working on new makeup. I'm like, really? So this is kind of like a little cop out that you're just saying, oh, we're sorry that we broke you guys up, but no, you were kind of mutual about the whole breakup and all.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Oh,
It
God.
was like, come on, really?
That ending sucked. Okay, I admit that. That ending sucked.
And then the other thing too is like also further into the ending, you have to see Maria talk to another
Oh my
teacher,
God.
and it's like, okay, Ronnie, no, don't mess up
No,
the
it's
relationship
like
stuff too.
She
didn't
learned nothing.
She learned nothing. It's like that My Little Pony episode with Applejack. I learned nothing. She learned nothing.
She learned nothing in this episode, and that was just like,
Wow,
Ronnie.
nothing.
This was not a good building episode for Ronnie Anne. Plus, the other thing too is that I was hoping that there was going to be something about the family of like why Arturo's dating and why he was okay to date, and Ronnie Anne, not liking that, and a big talk about why they divorced Maria and Arturo. But no, we got disappointed by something like this. So yeah, that happened. That was an episode, and I was disappointed. So, but that's all I can say about it.
Yeah. Now, let me just go next. Okay. 2 words. I have 2 words for you. Ready to hear this?
Yes.
What are 2 words of the day?
What's the words?
What are they? What are the 2 words of the day?
Yeah, what are the 2 words?
I have 2 words for you.
Oh, he may be muted out. Are you muted, Omid?
What are the 2 words? We can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
Okay, hang on. All right. 2 words for you.
I think he's screaming.
It doesn't want you to say the 2 words. What are the 2 words? The suspense.
2 words. I can hear you.
The suspense is killing me. What is the 2 words?
Just say it out loud. Just say it right now.
Missed opportunity.
There we go.
There it is.
The 2 words. The word of the day.
Opportunity. It's just this whole episode was one big missed opportunity, and I'll tell you why. Because you want to know what's missing in this episode? You want to know what would have enhanced this episode? What would have made it a?
I know exactly what it is. What is it?
Arturo and Maria's divorce.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is.
There it is. The golden word.
Where was it?
Nowhere.
Casagrandes.
Nothing.
Nowhere at all.
It means nothing.
Ronnie Anne's motivations for trying to break up her dad and her teacher are non-existent. They are completely non-existent. Therefore, making this episode moot.
Oh, God.
It boggles my mind. Honestly, I was willing to give it the benefit of the doubt at first, but then the more and more I thought about it, the more and more I thought, okay, honestly, this is honestly the weakest Casagrande episode I've seen. Not just season 2, but honestly, this is probably my least favorite Casagrande episode in general. Because it's not just a missed opportunity that really irks me. It's also the fact that how Ronnie Anne was characterized, like, from the way Ronnie Anne is characterized, you can sort of see, you can sort of sense that, like she was sort of borrowing Lincoln's selfishness that he inherited in the season 1 episodes. Like Ronnie Anne somehow borrowed some of Lincoln's selfishness. Some of the other half of Lincoln's selfishness was heavily borrowed by Clyde in Flying Solo. So therefore, it would explain why Lincoln was so pure-hearted in season 5. But back to this episode. Just the way that Ronnie Anne and Sid just go on about it, that the way they try to break up Arturo and Gina just because, it would ruin her reputation and all that stuff. It's like, okay, how do you know that? Like, how do you come to that conclusion? Honestly. Oh, and also, Becky spoke in this episode, but honestly, Becky in this Casagrandes episodes, I feel like she was. Is it me or was Becky becoming like the Lola Loud of the Casagrandes?
Or
like,
the Chandler?
She's blonde, she's angry, she's a tattletale, all that stuff. No. Like Becky was also a tattletale, and like she was like shouting all that stuff. It kind of gave me Lola vibes. But the only difference is that Lola, while showing these traits, like Lola's traits, actually enjoyable to watch, whereas showing these traits just came off as a bit obnoxious. and and also the fact that the ending was done like totally wrong, where she got off scot-free. Like it's sort of a Karma Houdini moment where after they confess to playing the part of breaking the two up, Arturo and Gina both have their came up with their reasons. Like they're saying, "Oh, you didn't break us up. We came to the conclusion ourselves," and then like and just the reasons why they're crying heavily is just so forced. Like apparently because Arturo's team lost and Gina's trying the makeup thing. And the back of my mind, I was sort of thinking, okay, Carlos, Gina, you two are not Frida, okay? You are not Frida, okay? Frida is much more like Frida is the mistress of crying, okay? She's the queen of comedic crying. She does this extremely well because not only is it over the top up to a point where it's actually hilarious, but there's actually legit reasons why she becomes so vulnerable. Like Arturo and Gina's motivations, like Arturo and Gina's reasons for crying, honestly, they seem so petty. And the fact that, and also when I see them flooding in tears, I'm just like, okay, you're sort of ripping off Frida right there. Okay, just chill out. And also, Ronnie Anne trying to break up Maria and the robotics teacher when she thought that they were in a relationship. But honestly, that was the nail in the coffin. That was when I realized, okay, honestly, this is probably Ronnie Anne at her worst characterization, because it really does show that she really learned nothing at all. She continues to make the same mistakes again. So honestly, overall, I just feel that its biggest crime is not having the Arturo and Maria's backstory, because I feel that the backstory would have played a significant part in Ronnie Anne's motivations to want to break up Arturo and Gina. But instead, it's just, because, Arturo's my dad and Gina's my teacher. My reputation is on the line. So, we got to break them up once and for all, and it just boggles my mind, honestly. I got nothing more to say about it. Let's move on.
Yeah, so I can't believe I found an episode of the Casagrandes I despise, and it's this episode. They finally made an episode that I despise with a burning passion, and it's like Bird Has Flown was like the one episode where I didn't like it, but even that episode has redeeming qualities. And I remember calling Grandparent Trap the missed opportunity episode, and I can't believe I have to give the award to the missed opportunity episode to this episode. Like, this episode makes Grandparent Trap look like a perfect episode. And that's saying something, because Grandparent Trap, I remember being missed opportunity episode where Ronnie Anne was worried about her grandparents breaking up, and I was like, okay, well, because obviously she feels like it's because of the divorce between her parents, but no, it's because of a talk show. And I was like, well, okay, now that's missed opportunity episode. However, that episode, Ronnie Anne's intentions, she has good intentions of caring about her grandparents divorcing, her dad and her teacher breaking up. Nah, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. Like, who cares if they break up? Like, I am getting out of this because it's my dad dating my teacher. Like, she will care if it's her grandparents breaking up, but her dad and her teacher breaking up, that doesn't matter. Like, all that matters is my reputation. Like again, like I said on Casa Live, this episode feels like they gave Ronnie Anne a Lincoln is Selfish plot. It feels like a Lincoln is Selfish plot, and it's hard because we just had Saved by the Spell, where Lincoln did not care about his reputation whatsoever to the guys, where he was like, guys, I don't care about my reputation, I just want to do my magic. Whereas here, Ronnie Anne was like, oh man, if everybody finds out Arturo, like, if everybody finds out my dad's dating my teacher, my reputation will be over. And I'm like, really, Ronnie Anne? You really care about your reputation like this? Come on, honey, I don't believe that. But, I mean, I kind of believe it, but, But, like, in this episode, like, Ronnie Anne was on board with Arturo dating until she found that was Mrs. G. I did like where Mrs. G was telling Ronnie Anne, oh, I'm not going to give you special treatment because I'm dating your dad. However, how is Ronnie Anne the C student? In Operation Dad, continuity, what's that, Casagrandes? In Operation Dad, Ronnie Anne was a straight A student and on the honor roll. How is she a C student now? I thought that maybe Mrs. G was failing her on purpose because she didn't like Ronnie Anne, and even though Ronnie Anne was Arturo's daughter, so maybe Mrs. G was trying to sabotage her or something. But it's like, no, now she's constantly failing. Maybe it's because her dad is back, so that would be kind of weird. But, you know, and again, like, in this episode, Ronnie Anne did not think once about how her dad would feel in a relationship that he was pretty happy in. Like, you know, like, even though it was kind of gross to see Mrs. G and Arturo kissing in the hallway and being mushy and stuff, they were pretty happy together. Like, Arturo was pretty happy in this relationship, and not once did Ronnie Anne think, I'm gonna ruin what is my dad's best relationship now. And even Sid, you know, I mean, I get it, Sid's her best friend, and Sid has to be her, you know, supportive best friend, but Sid sometimes has to be a yes man, which I don't like. Even Sid was like, I'm gonna get you out of this, which, you know, again, props to Sid for being a good friend, but I wish Sid or somebody could have said to Ronnie Anne, like, aren't you gonna ruin what is now your dad's best relationship? Nope, she doesn't care. And so, like, at the end where Ronnie Anne finds out and that Arturo and Mrs. G broke up, she's, like, dancing in the hallway, so happy with Sid. They're dancing, they're happy. It's like, oh my god, they broke, like, yes, they broke up. Our plan worked. Like, wow. Like, that was, like, that to me, like, broke all of Ronnie Anne's character for me, where she was so happy she broke off her dad's relationship. And again, like, the ending where she got off scot-free. Like, you know, I've heard people say there's sometimes when Ronnie Anne gets off the hook in episodes, and I disagreed multiple times. However, in this episode, I absolutely agreed. Ronnie Anne did not learn anything. Her actions had no consequences. She got out scot-free because they broke up on their own terms. If they would have found out that Ronnie Anne was the one sabotaging the relationship, I wish Mrs. G could have gave her detention for, like, life or something, or her dad grounded her, you know? Like, she should have gotten some repercussions for ruining a relationship other than, oh, we just didn't, we broke up on our own terms. Like, that to me was basically a cop-out on the episode. And the ending, of course, ending where Ronnie Anne thought her mom was talking to her robotics teacher. Again, she didn't learn anything. This episode, to me, felt like such a waste of time. Because if Arturo and Mrs. G were gonna break up anyway, then none of Ronnie Anne's actions in this episode meant nothing. The entire episode meant nothing if they were just gonna break up in the end. Why did you do that? Like, I would have been fine with them still being a thing, like, in the end. Like, if you would have done that, completely fine. Arturo's happy, that's all that matters. But Ronnie Anne didn't learn that. She was just like, I'm sorry for trying to break you guys up. Ronnie Anne should have learned that that she's happy for Arturo in his new relationship and should respect that. But nope, she learned absolutely nothing. And yeah, definitely the worst episode of not just season 2, but the entire series overall. Like, I can't believe you butchered my favorite character in this episode, but you did it. Congratulations, Casagrandes, you butchered my favorite character. How you feel now? Just, wow. Awful.
Yeah, I think we all agreed on this one here. That was an awful episode. Oh my god.
Yeah, like,
I mean, to be fair, like,
yeah.
Every show has its duds. Every show does have its duds. You gotta remember that.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I mean, you know, again, I'm a Ronnie Anne fan, but I am proud to say what I don't like when they portray Ronnie Anne in different ways. I still think one of her worst moments is in the Christmas episode when she says, oh man, our Christmas would have been great without those dang neighbors getting in the way. Like, I still hate that line so much. It bugged me so much. So, in this episode, she annoyed the heck out of me. Like, I'm like, why are you doing this? Shouldn't you be happy for your dad? Because again, like, we've talked about before, like, with, like, Lincoln and Rodney as characters. If Lincoln does something, like in season 1 or vice versa, that I don't like, I will proudly say I did not like Lincoln in that episode. So even though I'm a fan of those characters, I'm proud to say that I can, back up everybody whenever they're not characterized in the best way, you know? So, yeah, Ronnie Anne's character was not good this episode, and Casagrandes, don't ever do an episode like this ever again. If you're never gonna mention the divorce, don't do an episode like this ever again. I'm just saying, like, you know what, Omid? I think at this point, the Casagrandes just doesn't want to mention the divorce. They just think it's not important. They don't want to touch upon it. After doing 2 episodes with opportunities to mention it, I think they're just like, nah, the divorce doesn't mean anything. It's fine. Just stop stop thinking about it. I just gave up on the point. I just gave up on them trying to mention it.
Yeah, I just hope they do that though. I mean, just to make it more impactful about why Maria and Arturo are not, you can see that they're mom and dad for Ronnie Anne and Bobby, but it's got to come out eventually. But if they don't do that, then what? They're just floating characters? That's the reason why we don't have Maria and Bobby. That's why reason why we don't have Maria or Arturo episodes as much as, Carl episodes.
Yeah, I mean, Arturo broke up with Mrs. G mutually, and so I think that's probably what happened between him and Maria. It's just like, oh, we didn't work out. It's fine. It's not that impactful. Forget about it, I just gave it up.
Just move on.
Just stop dwelling on it too much. It's fine. Forget about it. Whatever,
Yeah.
And the thing is, at least in a very Casagrandes Christmas, the difference between Ronnie Anne's portrayal in that episode as opposed to this is that at least in Casagrandes Christmas, she actually gets called out for her selfish behavior by Rosa, with her saying, "Ronalda, you need to have some sympathy." And I agreed with Rosa in that. She does need to have sympathy because honestly, her neighbors are going through far worse than she is. And at least at the end was heartwarming because she actually does learn to spend Christmas time with not just her dad, but also her neighbors too. So there's at least some credit that could be given to Ronnie Anne's character in a very Casagrandes Christmas as opposed to Teacher's Threat.
Yeah, if I rewrote this episode, if I wrote this episode, I would have had it where Mrs. G and Arturo are like, "Oh, so you tried to break us up? Why would you do that?" And Ronnie is like, "Because I thought my reputation would be ruined." And she's like, "I'm sorry, and I should have respected your relationship." And maybe as a punishment, Arturo and Mrs. G are like, "Well, now you guys gotta have to do something for us." And so they're on a date, and Ronnie and Sid are like their waiters, waiting on them on their date. Yeah. That would be a good punishment. That's how I would have wrote it. Just like, "Oh, Ronnie Anne, more breadsticks. Oh, why more breadsticks?"
Yeah. Why did they do that? Because if you look back on the Loud House Season 1 episodes, at least in the episodes where Lincoln does act selfish, he gets consequences at the end. So that's what made these episodes watchable as opposed to this.
Yeah, in Finders Weepers, when Ronnie and Sid find Maybelle's change purse, she makes them do all her chores for her as a punishment. So I'm like, they should have at least done that. And even if they didn't, they should have just had Ronnie and Sid get detention for a week or something, have them clean the chalkboard or whatever. It just don't let them get off scot-free because they we're gonna ruin a good relationship. There's better ways this episode could have went about it, and you just couldn't follow up the amazing episode we're going to talk about now. So, you just couldn't follow it up.
If I would have rewritten this episode, I, of course, I would have included the divorce backstory, okay? That would have been the number one thing that I would have done. Just include Arturo and Maria's backstory. Because, like I said, it would have enhanced the episode. It would have had the episode had meaning. It would have given Ronnie Anne's character proper motivation.
Absolutely, yeah. Right. But now we get to talk about the best episode of this week, the grand finale, the episode we've all been anticipating in this entire fandom, the big episode, the Sedani Kid episode. What would I have to say? It's an amazing episode, yes. An Udder Mess.
Yes.
An Udder Mess,
yes.
The episode, yes. Udder Mess. The best
biggest
episode.
One.
The big episode, yes.
It's the reason why we've kept it the best for last.
Yes. All right, so Udder Mess. Ronnie Anne wins 2 tickets to Dairyland, but has to choose between her bestie, Sid and Lincoln, for the day. So, guys, Udder Mess, the big episode. What do we think about the big Sedani Kid episode?
Omid, you should go first on this one.
All right. Well, okay. Simply put, this is definitely my second favorite episode of the entire week. Honestly, I already mentioned Dynamic Do-Over is my number 1. This is definitely a number 2. And of course, this episode really does hold up, and it really does hold up to its promise. It definitely lives up to our expectations because we see Ronnie Anne's dilemma, whereas now, unlike the previous episode where it was due to selfishness, this episode, it was due to her selflessness in a way, because she has her two best friends who want to go to Dairyland with her, but she only has 2 tickets. So, of course, she takes the feelings of both her best friends into heart, and she has trouble deciding which to give the ticket to. And you can really feel it, because there was a time where we loved, like, like 2 people in our lives so much, whether it be like your parents or your friends, and you don't want to let the other person down. But at the same time, though, you definitely want to go with both of them. But at the same time, the circumstances force you to choose between one. So I did feel that. Like, I do feel Ronnie Anne's dilemma is very real, and I sympathize with her in that. So she goes to lengths to pretty much try to get herself into the fair while giving the tickets to both Sid and Lincoln. And of course, with Carl's help, because he knows, quote unquote, a guy, unquote. Like,
He's the guy. He's the guy.
Of course, yeah, Carl's the guy who he knows. And it's like, well, yeah, what are the odds, right? So they both dress up as the cow, and they try to get into the theme park themselves. But little do they know how crazy kids can get when it comes to mascots. Like, they go crazy. Like you can. It definitely does live up to Dairyland, because it's sort of reminiscent to Disneyland, where you see all these characters get excited for like Mickey Mouse or Goofy, all this stuff. I feel that this sort of really nails down kids' behaviors when they see their favorite mascot. And also, here's a fun fact: Eric Bauza voices the guard. Like, Eric Bauza voices one of the staff members of Dairyland. So yeah, it's safe to say that Bugs Bunny was in this episode, right? But I also do love the BFF radar, because it really does show how much Sid really knows and loves Ronnie Anne. It's like, my BFF radar is detecting that you're going to Dairyland, you have tickets, or my BFF radar is detecting that that Ronnie Anne is in the Tippy the Cow costume. It's just like that whole BFF radar bit is just so funny and so heartwarming. I also do like at the end how Lincoln revealed, Lincoln and Sid, like, they could have easily been competitive against one another, but just the fact that the two would have been totally cool with Ronnie Anne taking the other person, it really does show just how humble, just how sweet that Sid and Lincoln both are, just so how understanding the two really are. Oh, and also Rusty is the first of Lincoln's squad to be in the Casagrandes. Like, Rusty is Lincoln's first friend to be in the Casagrandes, so go figure, right?
Sid.
I want to ride the chocolate milk shaker. I don't care if it's fictional or not. I want to ride that chocolate milk shaker.
Omid, I want to say Sid met Rusty before Clyde.
Wow, you're right about that. I forgot.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I'm sort of envisioning it. Like, imagine, like, like, I'm sort of like imagining, like, there should have been an extra scene in which Rusty tries to hit on Sid because Rusty's trying to be a ladies'
Oh
man.
my god! Oh my god!
I don't
want
to know Sid Dusty or something. Oh god, no.
Sid Dusty.
Susty. Oh god,
Susty.
no ships on that.
Rusty.
No, but Sid would not go for that. You know why? Sid would not go for that because she would have said to Rusty, "You're just not my type. My type is you, Quan." And then Rusty's like, 12 is midnight is overrated anyways. And then
my
god. Oh no.
Don't talk about my man like
I'll
that.
watch Sid beat up
Oh
Rusty.
man, I want to see this episode. Rusty like dissed 12 is midnight. Oh my god. Like I want to see that episode.
I want to see how Sid reacts to it though. That would be pretty interesting. Okay, so
See, of course.
Okay, so yeah, let's get my points on this episode. I would say I was absolutely hyped as heck already when I first saw the episode because of all of the hype that was all around social media about it. I talked about this in the Casa Live, and I said that there was just absolutely a lot of people who were saying that this episode is absolutely hyped, not because of the whole Zidanican moments, but the fact that most of the voice actors are pretty much promoting the heck out of the episode. So you get to see like Isabella Alvarez's Instagram posting something about An Udder Mess. You get to see Leah May Gold put something about that as well. Same with Asher Bishop. So we are going to have another crossover episode. So already coming into the episode, I was going to be hyped as heck, but I never expected to already see a Bobby and Lori moment where they're about to have a kid and the kid turned out to be ugly. And I never expected to see Lori so disappointed about the kid and the face that she puts up. I was like, oh my goodness, now I feel so bad for her. Like, yeah, I understand.
Lori
I
was like
understand.
in tears.
It was just absolutely like, I get it, it's disgusting, but holy crap, Lori, like, you were that devastated for a kid like that. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was cute seeing Bobby and Lori chatting again, and it seems that Lori was pretty much over at the Loud House for the weekend. Then we get to see Ronnie Anne with those tickets. I never expect to see Lincoln so excited. The fact that, yeah, he was drinking chocolate milk trying to win a bottle. And then knowing the fact that Lincoln was just so excited to see Ronnie Anne win those tickets, and the fact that he was the one who gets asked first to be a guest to be Ronnie Anne's guest for Dairyland. That's just like, okay, really amazing, like Ronican moments there. But then, of course, Sid comes in too, and also heard about that she won. So you could get to see the whole mixed feelings about Ronnie Anne picking Lincoln or Sid, because Sid's his best friend, and same with Lincoln as well. So I love the whole scene over where Ronnie Anne had to like go through like the city and skateboard through and say like, universe, give me a sign of who to pick. So you get to see like a cat Lincoln, you get to see like a hairdo Lincoln and a hairdo Sid and a bird Sid. And it's pretty much saying like, yeah, you're on your own about that. Universe is pretty much telling you like you're on your own about that.
Sorry, we can't play sides in this episode. Sadly,
sorry.
we can't pick one yet.
They're both great.
Yeah, we can't pick the canonship today. Yeah, no, sorry, Ronnie Anne.
Sorry, the fans are like equal.
We know who's the canonship. The show can't yet. Like, sadly.
Right. So this led to a moment where Ronnie Anne had Sid and Lincoln a chance to have their fun. And you know what, though? I think that it's good to have Sid and Lincoln, have their moment where they would just hang out together so that they could just, become friends. Because, yeah, you only saw Sid and Lincoln just meet up in the horoscope. So now you get to see them just hang out. You don't really get to see them, but, you pretty much know in the back of your mind they're having most of the time a fun time out over at Dairyland. Now, the other thing, too, is like maybe they're going to be maybe you're just thinking in the back of your mind, you're thinking like Sid and Lincoln are pretty much talking about Ronnie Anne and thinking like, oh, how cool would it be just to hang with Ronnie Anne? Oh, do you like her? Do you like this? Do you like that? And I'm like, oh no, this is going to be hopefully something that they'll probably bring up in another episode of another Zidanican episode, but just
oh my
mind
gosh,
being
please.
all frazzled.
I would love to see them bonding over Ronnie Anne. Like in this episode, they were like Sid was like, did you hear Ronnie Anne? Or like when Lincoln's like, was that Ronnie Anne's phone going off? Like I would just love to see them be like, isn't Ronnie Anne so cool? Yeah, she's so cool, Mara. She's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yes.
See something like that. I mean, that would be cool to put up, but you know what? Obviously you have a 11-minute episode, so you can't really put that all in there. Most of the episode was mostly on Carl and Ronnie Anne just trying to get in. Because I understand Ronnie Anne's situation. Now she has no tickets, so she has to find her way to get in. And yeah, getting to a Dairyland costume is not bad, but you still have to work a job. So you're pretty much working with kids and even participating in a show. And I love the fact that, Sid and Lincoln were they're still like concerned about Ronnie Anne because they're like having their fun. But at the same time, in the back of their minds, they're thinking like, where's Ronnie Anne? Because we can't thank her enough for bringing us to Dairyland. So obviously the whole situation where Ronnie Anne is in a costume and Sid had to call her up, and that moment right there where they had to rescue Ronnie Anne, I thought that was absolutely precious. Just the fact that these great friends are just there for Ronnie Anne. And the moment after that, I think was absolutely heartwarming. Just the fact that like, yeah, Ronnie Anne is saying like, I can't pick between you guys. And the fact that Sid and Lincoln were okay with it. And the fact that we didn't know that Lincoln actually had Rusty also come along too. So Rusty's first appearance in the Casagrandes is confirmed now. But just that moment at the end is like, yeah, we are how absolute friendship is all about. Like, we understand how hard it is for Ronnie Anne to pick somebody out of Sid and Lincoln, because they're absolutely great friends to Ronnie Anne. So it just was cool just to see those three just absolutely say that all is forgiven. You know what? We understand your situation, so we absolutely understand who you would pick. And no doubt about it, all three of them did end up being in Dairyland together, riding the ride. And Carl also just becoming part of the show, so now he's pretty much the butt of the joke now, being a part of the show in
literally.
Yeah, literally the butt of the joke.
Literally
because he's the butts. Literally because he's the butt.
And Ronnie Anne ended up being the face of the joke. The face of the joke.
Yeah, the face of the joke.
And yeah, I mean, I can't say much about. There's nothing more I can say about it. I have to say, this is a absolutely amazing Sidonican episode. This is how friendships are for. And if you're talking about an episode that shows true friendship on how to become friends and all, definitely this one is definitely takes the cake. Definitely a really amazing episode.
Absolutely, like they legit knocked it out of the park with this episode for me. Like the fandom, I was super hyped for this episode, mainly because, Lincoln was coming back in the show, and we were having, like, a full Sidonican episode. Like, that's just up my alley, and I've, like, been excited for this episode ever since it was first announced that I knew it was going to be a Sidonican episode. And I like to think this episode is basically a sequel to Horoscope, because Horoscope was the Roddy Kid episode with some Sidonican, but this episode did a lot of callbacks to Horoscope, because again, like, in the beginning, you had the Lori and Bobby part, which set up Roddy Kid, and then you had, like, Roddy and, again, I hate to say this, but if Sid didn't pop up in the episode, Ronnie would have gladly taken Lincoln to Dairyland. I'm just saying. She invited Lincoln first. I'm just saying. We all know what the kinship is, but, we can't pick sides in this episode. But I'm just saying, she picked Lincoln first. He was like, you're taking me, right? Yeah, you know it. Like, yeah, she picked it first. But, of course, Sid had to pop in and watch. She wanted to go too. Yeah, I know. But I love the scene where, Ronnie Anne goes to Rosa for advice, which again is a callback to Horoscope, because Rosa was involved in the plot in Horoscope, and she's like, well, I asked for signs for the universe, which Ernesto's presence is always here, no matter what if he's not in the episode or not, because the universe. Because as Rosa said at the end of the episode, the universe works in mysterious ways in Horoscope. So she's like, okay, give me a sign, and then so the signs are actually callbacks too. Lincoln as the pizza is a callback to Horoscope, when they went to the pizza place in Horoscope. Sid as the hot dogs, a callback to Friended, when they first met. Sid as the cat, callback to Horoscope when they were watching cat videos. And Sid as the bird is a callback to Horoscope where Roddy had found Sid's lovebird. So again, Rusty being mentioned was also mentioned in Horoscope. So again, there's a lot of callbacks to Horoscope. It's basically a sequel episode to Horoscope, just the whole, Sidonican Kid versus just the Roddy Kid aspect. But I really, compared to the last episode we talked about, in this episode, again, I love that, again, talking about Roddy Kid for a second, I've loved the development of Roddy Anne's relationship with Lincoln, because she sees Lincoln as her best friend too, and I love that. I love that she, Sid may be the established best friend in the Casagrandes, but when she said, I can't let down my two best friends, I don't know what to do, and then she also said to Rosa, how do you choose between two people you really care about? It's really sweet to see that Roddy Anne cares for both of them in similar but different ways. Because, Roddy and Sid met super fast. They became super fast close friends. Whereas Lincoln and Roddy have had a lot of history together. So seeing that she cares for both of them in special ways and found ways to, get these tickets but, didn't want to choose between them is so sweet. Because, she cares about both of them equally as her two best friends, which is awesome. And I love that, we got to see Sid and Lincoln hang out for a bit, which is really cool, because the best friends of Ronnie Anne hanging out and becoming friends too is awesome. And I love them working together to help Ronnie Anne come out of the cow suit and stuff. But again, the ending where I love that it was Sid who spoke for her and Lincoln when saying, because Ronnie Anne was saying how, I couldn't choose between you two because I didn't want you guys thinking I was playing favorites. And she's like, oh, Ronnie Anne, we would never think you were playing favorites. Sure, we both wanted to go, but we totally would have understood. Like, I love that Sid, even though with her whole, like, BFF radar thing, which, again, like, shows me kind of, like, clingy best friend vibes, I do like that she wasn't portrayed as a clingy best friend in where she was like to Lincoln, oh, I'm the best friend. Like, you know, you're the second best friend, but that doesn't matter. Like, I like that Sid has a respect for Lincoln because, again, Ronnie and Lincoln have known each other longer than her and Sid. But I like that Sid said, like, you know, we both would have understood if you had to choose between us or took someone that wasn't us. Like, I'm glad that she spoke for both of them in that she doesn't, you know, she doesn't think that, oh, just because I'm Ronnie Anne's best friend, Lincoln doesn't matter. Like, we both love Ronnie Anne equally. We're both her best friends. So I love that Sid has that respect for Lincoln. And, like, you know, when Lincoln said, oh, well, Rusty had our tickets, so I could have just asked him. But wait, if you already knew that, why did you ask Ronnie Anne if she's taking you, Lincoln? That's very suspicious, Lincoln. Very suspicious, buddy. Like, if you already knew Rusty had won a ticket, did you find out after, or did you already know already? It's very suspicious, Lincoln. But yeah,
it is pretty sus. It's pretty sus.
But then pretty sus. Come on, Lincoln. Pretty sus.
At the same time, though.
Yeah.
But at the same time, though, it could be argued that Rusty let Lincoln know that he had tickets, like, way after he knew that Ronnie Anne had tickets. So
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, but I was like, if Lincoln knew the whole time, very suspicious. But, very suspicious. But, yeah, but of course the three-way hug, absolutely adorable. Like, everybody has, like we all love it. So cute. Like, I love that they have this three-way friendship. It's really sweet because I love seeing Lincoln growing a bond with Sid, because Sid is Ronnie Anne's her main best friend in the Casagrandes, and then having this three-way friendship is super adorable. But to me, it's not a perfect episode. Like, Horoscope is a perfect episode, but that's perfect in a whole different way. But this episode was more like, okay, we got Sonatikin, but only in, like, the last 5 minutes, you know? Like, I want a full episode with all of them together on screen for the entire episode. Like, please stop teasing us like this, Casagrandes. Like, if you do, like, you should give us more than what you give us. Like, it was basically like what Curse did. It's a Casagrande episode featuring crossover, not like an entire crossover episode with all of them together. But I feel like it's because they did this, that way they're like, okay, like, if we do this episode, then we know what we could do in the future with all three of them on screen. But yes, it just makes me crave more Sonatikin because this was an absolutely wonderful episode. And, you know, Carl was really funny because, again, Carl makes every episode funny. But, like, the Sonatikin and just the whole episode was a great follow-up or sequel to Horoscope. And they exceeded my expectations. They did such a great job on it. I absolutely love this episode, and I hope we get more with these three in the future, or again, Lincoln coming back in the Casagrandes more often. Because the fact that Lincoln came back in the Casagrandes at all means that they still continue to have his relationship with Ronnie Anne in some way, whereas as also he's making a bond with Sid too, which is amazing. Like, this is a great episode. Absolutely the best episode this week, and probably one of my favorite episodes of season 2. Just, I don't know what else to say about it. It's just a wonderful episode. Absolutely wonderful.
Most definitely. And I know that everybody out there who's absolutely adoring Sonatikin, I know that we've won this week because Sonatikin was just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, like, it was great just to have those guys just hang out and have their episode in An Udder Mess. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I just don't know what else to say.
Yeah, that's a Sonatikin hug. It's just...
Absolutely adorable. Absolutely adorable. The squished cheeks, oh my god, it's so cute. Like, yes, it's perfect. I mean, I wish Ronnie Anne could have been in the middle, but the fact that Lincoln isn't all squishy their cheeks, absolutely perfect. I love it. So great. They had to give that to us, and they did, and it's adorable. Like, we all love it. Like, thank you, Casagrandes, for making this episode. We absolutely adore it. Like, thank you.
Oh man,
I agree.
Yeah. So that was a lot of episodes to talk about.
I know we had to go. 8
We
straight
we
episodes,
said
but
quite a mouthful. There was a lot that we
Yeah.
had to say, and
8
not
straight
just this
episodes,
episode.
but we had a lot to talk about. So to say the least, we were here for the ride, and we survived it.
Yep, we did. It was a crazy
Hell
roller
yeah.
coaster. But Nate, Omid, thank you guys so much for coming on with me. I know we ran a long time, like 2 hours in this recording, but thank you guys so much for doing this with me. I had a lot of fun bringing you back on for 8 episodes of the Casagrandes. So again, thank you guys so much for doing this.
No problem. And whenever you want us back, just holler us up, and we'll come back and do another show with you.
Like we talked about before.
Friend, it was.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
My friend, it was such a pleasure and honor to be a guest in your podcast again. It was just such a fun time with you. It's always fun to talk about Loud House of Casagrandes with both of you. And yeah, there was a lot that we had to say, but it was thoroughly fun. Like, it was like so much fun from beginning to end.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I cannot thank you enough for having you. I can't thank you enough for having us as your guests.
Well, thank you guys so much. I had an utterly fun time with you guys, if you could say.
Utterly.
Nice.
I'm waiting for them to make the joke. Yes, utterly. I was utterly excited to have you guys on and utterly impressed. Yeah.
Yes.
But like
Yes.
we talked about off recording, the next time I'll have you guys back on is February of 2022, so you'll have to wait till then.
We'll
It's
see.
gonna be a tradition.
Hey, we'll see how it is.
Like,
when
in your
season
birth
6
month
is happening.
too, Sonny, like,
Yeah, your birth month. That's true.
Yeah, it's crazy because like I had you guys on at the same time last year, then we had the same time here. That's like we gotta do it next year around the same time again. It's gotta be a tradition.
Oh boy.
But
let's make it a thing. Make it a thing.
Yep. So before we go, is there any social media you guys want to plug on my show? Whoever wants to go first.
You can go, Omid.
You got the floor. Oh, me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well. All right. Well, I do have a Twitter account, of course. I have reached my goal of 500 followers. So that's a major feat. I pretty much post about random stuff like, Loud House, Casagrandes, as well as other cartoons, anime, movies, and TV shows, and all that stuff, and also some shit posts here and there. So, like, whenever you want to be if you want to be my friend on Twitter, just go to at Omid, OMID, and my last name, Iran IRAN as in Nancy, M as in Mike, AN as in Nancy again, ESH. I also have a DeviantArt account in which I have posted some of my fan arts there. My username is OmidI20, so if you want to check out some of my fan art, I post it over there. And that's pretty much it for me in terms of social media accounts, pretty much.
All right.
At least the ones I want to share with you.
All right, and of course, I am the admin of the fan page of the Loud House, so and the Casagrandes. So if you want to follow up with all the things that we always tweet about when it comes to news about the Loud House or the Casagrandes, or anything about the Loud House or the Casagrandes, just follow us on Twitter at Fanpage of TLH and at Instagram as well at Fanpage of TLH. We also do have our YouTube page as well. Head over to youtube.com/fanpage of the Loud House and the Casagrandes. And you can be able to see our videos. We always record our LoudCasa Talks podcast there. And we also do have other events that we want to plan up soon for our YouTube. So if you want to get in touch about our YouTube page and see what we're doing, go ahead and hit the subscribe button when you go to the webpage, and also hit the bell button so that you can get notified of when we come on. And yeah, and I also do have a artist account as well. You can follow me at FanArtistNate on Twitter. You can be able to see all the latest art projects that I'll be working on. I know I've been doing a lot of Loud House stuff, but I'm actually thinking about doing other cartoons like Big City Greens and a lot of other ones. So just stay tuned to that. Just follow me at FanArtistNate on Twitter so that you can be able to see how my artworks are going to be. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like, that's what I also post on my Twitter. Also, like, my own fan art, and also I post some perler art here and there. Like, I do perler art also. So if you want to check that out, go to my Twitter page as well. And also, in terms of fan page of Loud House and Casagrande content, Nate just pointed out himself. Just follow us on YouTube and Twitter.
Yeah, so you guys should be checking out the LoudCasa Talks podcast if you're not already, because it's amazing. And these guys are wonderful. So, make sure you hit up that podcast, because obviously I love having them on, listening to their podcast. It's wonderful. So make sure you check that out. And I should be promoting my YouTube channel, because I also post these on YouTube too. So like this video and hit that bell button so you're notified anytime I have a new video. Okay. I feel like a YouTuber.
I've been learning from watching a lot of YouTube, so
like that video and hit that bell button.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm gonna start saying that. Wow, I feel like a YouTuber now. Okay. And as for me, if you have any questions about the podcast or want to discuss the podcast with me, you can contact me over at Exciting Clips on Twitter, or at the podcast's Twitter, CasaLoud Chats. And we don't know when we'll see you next time, because again, both the Loud House and the Casagrandes are on hiatus right now, and I'm gonna put my show on hiatus for a little bit as well, because I need to focus on school, because soon enough I'll be graduating soon, and I haven't gotten my assignments done recently, so I need to, after 8 episodes of Casagrandes, I need to focus on school, so I'm putting my show on hiatus. But of course, awesome podcasts like the LoudCasa Talks will be around to do their episodes, so check them out. So while I'm on hiatus, but again, whenever we come back, we'll see you all next time on CasaLoud Chats.